Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Happy Sunday to everyone. How's everybody doing this morning? Welcome to Twisted Tragedies, where we follow all the twists and turns wherever they lead. I am your host, Elise, and today is our Sunday show, our Sunday morning show. So I hope everybody's nicely tucked in. Here in Massachusetts, it is raining. So, it's just probably one of them days. It's a good day to sleep in late and have a movie day, maybe with your kiddos, and just relax because it is crappy outside. So we have plenty to talk about. We always have plenty to talk about. I feel like sometimes Ashton Kutcher is going to pop out of the bushes and tell us all that we've been punked for 2 years. Like, this is a whole big joke. Like, y'all have been punked. Good morning, Sunken Grave. Like, I feel like it's alternate reality when I have to read the utter ridiculous nonsense that I read when it comes to social media sometimes. Right? I feel punked. Like, I feel like this is like Ashton Kutcher's just popping out the bushes and like, bitches, y'all been punked. Like, I feel like I live in an alternate reality sometimes because the lack of people understanding the most basic concepts. I never wanted to believe in a million years that people could be this uneducated. People could be this dumb, for lack of a better term. There's never such a thing as a stupid question, okay? Ask questions. It's good to ask questions. If somebody makes you feel stupid for asking a question, then they're just upset because you're asking a question that might unravel things that they've said. I mean, I don't really understand why people jump at each other for asking questions. I've noticed a lot of the cult eating its own lately. God forbid you start questioning anything. If you question anything, you shall be jumped on by 55 cult members and 7 stock accounts that all come after you just for simply asking questions and changing your opinion. Not allowed to do that in a cult. That's not allowed. Changing your opinion when you have more information is what intelligent people do. It wouldn't be intelligent to keep the same opinion if you had more information, would it? No, it would not. Also, I think I figured out a good plan for Wednesday. I think I've figured out a good plan. Just a good plan is to give Chris a heads up. And I think I'll throw in with whoever's coming with us. And I think we should try to order some pizzas for CPD and send them over there. They're allowed to accept food. So let's feed those guys. The morale over there is shit, as we know. And I can't blame them for feeling that way. They feel very unappreciated. And for a small town that doesn't really have a ton of crime, I'd say they do a pretty good job of keeping people safe. And I find it funny that these very same cult members are the ones calling the police immediately when they think somebody has thrown something into their yard or driven by their house too many times. That they call those very same police officers that they say are so corrupt to come out and help them. It's like, if you think they're that corrupt, why are you calling them to help you? Why are you calling them to help you? Deal with it yourself then, right? You don't need them. They're corrupt, right? Like, you don't need their help, right? It's deplorable. Like, why don't you do their job? You do their job, and then you come back and tell them how it's like to be an officer and to deal with people like you on a daily basis. People who call them corrupt, but then are the first people to get on the phone and call for help. We know someone like that. He's a little short turtle with really little arms, but he loves the police. Loves to call for help. Loves it. He's afraid of women and loves to call for help. Loves it. Absolutely loves it. He actually went down to the police station and harassed the police over and over and over and over to get someone charged with something they didn't even do. And if that doesn't work, then he will just doctor evidence and then bring that back and keep harassing them until they do what he wants. And see, he has learned that works. I find that deplorable. Do better, Holden PD. I mean, even Leominster Court, the clerk, was concerned at the way that Holden PD had been used against people. Like, do better, because clearly you're showing a clear bias. Nobody should be able to come back over and over and over and over and over and over just until you charge someone. Because if that's the case, that's what we're going to start doing. We're going to start doing the same thing. We're going to start going down there and harassing you guys until you start charging these people with cyberstalking and criminal harassment. If that's what works, right? Fuck it. Like, let's do it. Y'all want help, right? You're the first people to cry and bitch and whine. When I was assaulted outside the courthouse, a cop watched the entire thing. The cop watched the entire thing. State police officer was standing right there, watched the entire thing, pulled me aside to talk to him. I didn't bother going down to file a report because it's a waste of their time, right? Like, I didn't bother going through all the hoopla. Like, it's not necessary, right? It's not necessary. These people trip on their own feet, and within, 5 feet of you, they're like, oh my God, that person assaulted me. When they're tripping over their own feet and then they're screaming for the police to help them, but they're corrupt. You don't need their help, right? Figure it out on your own. Like, they do actually have the option to tell them to fuck off. They can say, hey, fuck off. It's called discretion. They have wide discretion to either deal with something or not deal with something. Sometimes, though, I do wish that they didn't have that kind of discretion, because I think they also use it in the incorrect way sometimes, especially Holden PD. Shame on them. They don't use it in the way that it should be used. They use it as a bias way to help a terrorist, because that's what he is. He's a terrorist, to terrorize and cyberstalk and criminally harass and incite people. It's beyond me how they have that much discretion, right? You're supposed to uphold the laws. Let's uphold those laws and hold people accountable, because not holding them accountable is what got them to this point. Like, they seem to think they're in the free and clear, right? Because they haven't been arrested and charged with some of these crimes. They just feel like, yeah, we're good. We're just going to keep it up. And then we're going to, tell other people to do it. And I mean, do you see, we're already seeing the effects of these people not being held accountable. We're seeing the effects of that in the courthouse right now, right? The effects of that are these people are taking pictures of the jurors. And you know what I'm saying? Like, this is the effects of not holding some of these people accountable. That's the effects of it. Like, holding people accountable for these actions is also a deterrent, because then they're like, oh, hey, I don't want to be friggin' charged. I don't want to sit in jail. I don't want to do all that. Right? Like, but when you wait to do anything, now they think they're in the clear, right? They think they're good to go. They can just keep on, and they get more bold, right? They get bolder and bolder, and they do more and they do more and they do more. I say, why are we waiting for a tragedy or something more physical to happen before we put a stop to it? That's like a question to all law enforcement in this state that has anything to do with taking these. I've also noticed that, like, when someone goes to any police station for cyber stalking or criminal harassment, local PDs specifically like to just dismiss it outright. They don't even want to look at it. And that's a goddamn shame. But I have found there are some PDs that don't appreciate cyber stalking and criminal harassment. I guess maybe the bigger cities listen better than the smaller towns. I'm not really sure. Maybe it's just officer to officer, but mine don't think it's funny. They don't find it cute, actually. They have a officer that does like cyber crimes. And they work with like the federal government on like if there's any giant cyber crimes. And so I find that they're not trained well enough, and that they don't have the experience to know what to do. They like to dismiss it as like a civil issue. Oh, it's a civil issue. Take the person to court for defamation or slander. No. We're into criminal harassment and cyber stalking. That's well beyond defamation and slander, which they've done as well. Like, time to enforce the laws that are on the books for a goddamn reason. Like, time to do it now. And the little cities and towns are not equipped to do it. They're just not. They don't. But I do find that the bigger cities have a better idea of how to deal with it. Subpoenas, and getting evidence. The smaller ones just don't know how. Leah said they dismiss it because they aren't trained or have any clue how to enforce it. Only MSP really knows that topic. Yeah, and that's, it's funny because I found like maybe 3 larger cities, and the state police are really the only ones that know. I'm just lucky enough to live in one of those cities. For all the people that don't, what are they supposed to do? Yeah, well, that's the other thing. So cyber stalking is a federal crime, but the law on the books for Massachusetts for regular stalking includes electronic communications, including the internet. So they could be charged with regular stalking under that law if they wanted to be. But trying to get the federal government to charge for cyber stalking is also difficult. Hey, Jack. Yeah, Springfield is one of the ones. Boston, mine. There's like 2 other ones that I've come across in the last like 2 years. And again, but they're bigger. They're much bigger cities like Fitchburg. What's the name of the other one? It's not near where I live, so I always have a problem remembering the name of the city. But well, it's state to state. Cyber stalking is a federal crime, but each state has their own like cyber crimes unit, usually with state police or bigger cities that know what they're doing. There's just no training. There's no training. I watched clips of it. I didn't watch the entire thing because I knew it was just going to be a shit show. I read the report myself. And like that's spoke enough to me that I didn't think that I needed to watch a bunch of unhinged individuals who really have no idea what policy and procedure is, trying to snark at people who do. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's what the people are saying is just uneducated nonsense. Uneducated nonsense. I think someone streamed it. I'm not really sure. Maybe Naven can tell you who streamed it, but I did see it somewhere that it was being shown, and I was like, nope, I don't think I want to watch that. I just don't want to watch that. Like, hi, Leah. Yeah, well, that's exact wackadoos. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're talking about a bunch of people that have no idea. It's like asking a geologist to tell a chef how they should cook the burger. Like, that's what we're talking about right now. Bunch of random ass people who are not happy with the fact that the audit found that there was no conspiracy, there was no cover up, there was no evidence tampering, that the whole point of an audit is to see like how you can save money, like what things can be done better, like, if there was any like money being hidden or things like that, right? They didn't find that. They found things that they could do better, which you're going to find in any audit, right? Like there's always going to be things they can do better. I honestly think one of the things that they said that should have been done was kind of ridiculous, in my opinion. I honestly don't understand why they would think that police should or will ever take a picture of someone who is being transported to the hospital where they lay, when they haven't even called whether the person has died or not. So they thought that they should have taken a picture of John where he was laying before they took him in the ambulance. No, the first responder's job is to save a life. First and foremost, save a life, right? Literally save a life. Their job is to not wait for the police to take crime scene photographs of the person. Seconds and minutes matter, and they're not going to wait for that to get that person into the ambulance and try to save their life. So I found that a little strange that the audit would say that they should have taken a picture of him before he was loaded onto the ambulance. Like, it'd be one thing if they called the death right there, right? And left the body for the coroner to come pick up, right? But they didn't. So why do you think a picture should have been taken while they're trying to save his life? Like, that's just ridiculous. Yeah, I could probably see that probably for the humor. For a couple giggles. It was a knee slapper, guys. Girl with an eagle eye said, you can, I'm assuming it means watch the police audit video on a non-free hear and read site by searching CHS video, the student station in their lives. Yeah, it's somewhere. I'll look it up for you guys and put it in the Discord if you guys can't find it. But I know I saw it yesterday somewhere, and I was just like, nope, not watching it. I have no interest in that. I read the report myself. That's all that I really cared about. Like, they don't have any concept of it, of the law. None. They don't even know basic things in court. They're like, well, why can't this be talked about? Why wait until they talk about the federal investigation in the trial? They're not going to. And they said that the entire first trial, right? No, it can prejudice the jury. And I don't hear as much of it now because, as we know, the federal investigation is closed, right? And so I think it's funny that they don't say it as much, but I do hear some people say, like, well, if they talk when they talk about the federal investigation and when the jury finds out, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that is not going to happen. That is not going to happen. Like, that's not, it's going to prejudice the jury. They're not going to be allowed to talk about this trial. Just like they didn't in the last one. Like, I don't know what they don't understand about that. It's like basic stuff that they don't understand. Like, well, you're hiding X, Y, and Z from the jury. I mean, that letter that was written to one of the judges, I think was ridiculous. They were like, what was the specific quote? I can't remember the specific quote, but they said something along the lines of like, well, the judge keeps sending the jury out to hide things from them that are happening. She's supposed to, you absolute fucking genius. She is supposed to, so that the conversations that she has with counsel, it's not something that will bias the jury for or against Karen. Like, it's for purposes of a fair trial. That's how it works. Every person's trial, they send the jury out to have conversations about things or talk about things that are not going to be talked about when they're in the trial, or to sort out things. That's what they're supposed to do, is send the jury out. So like that, like letter, note, whatever you want to call it, alone shows me that the amount of stupidity is amazing. Like, if you don't know the most basic of basic on why she sends the jury out of the room, then you have no business writing a letter to the court bitching about it. That poor judge that was sent to was probably pissing himself laughing. Like, pissing himself laughing. I would be. And then I would have crinkled it up and thrown it in the trash can where it belonged. Like, you know what I mean? Hi, freak. I think involuntary can carry, I think, up to 20 years. I think it's up to. Voluntary, more, obviously. So it's still a hefty amount of time for manslaughter. Jack said the funniest part is they really believe they're the smart ones. That, it cracks me up. It cracks me up. They sit there and go, you're an idiot. You know nothing about the law. You're an idiot. You're a dummy. And I'm like, just cracking up laughing. Like, I'm the dummy. That me. Hey, hi, everybody, it's me. Like, no. No. And it's funny because it's like, I let my track record speak for itself on my predictions. Just saying. Like, how many things have you guys gotten right lately? Not many. How many have I gotten right lately? Quite a bit. So I just laugh. I just laugh and I go, ha ha ha. Like, they'll post something that I wrote or said and then try to like insult me by saying I'm wrong and I'm 100% right. So I literally will sit there and laugh with other people reading it out loud, like on like a group call, just dying laughing. Like, the stupidity is amazing to me. Like, oh, you're so stupid. I'm like, yep, that's me, just a dummy. I don't know shit. I'm just a dummy. Like, what? I don't think so. I think she would maybe do it at sidebar. I mean, if she does, then she's going to right at the beginning of that, like Monday morning. Like, that'll be what she does right in the beginning. Otherwise, she'll address it at sidebar or off camera. I don't think you'll hear her talk about it unless it's right there in the beginning. If she does, it will be right there, right in the beginning, publicly. Otherwise, it'll be sidebar or something less dramatic, you know? Like, well, Well, I think they really believe them. That's part of the problem, right? Like, they really believe these people. They believe that they're being told the truth, and they believe that they're right. Even when all alarms are telling them they're wrong, they're not willing to admit being wrong. They're too far in at this point. There's no backing out. Like, they know if they admit at this point that they have been duped, they're going to feel shitty. And it's like, what's worse, feeling shitty for 10 seconds because you were wrong and you figured it out, or feeling shitty at the end of all of this when you realize, like, not only were you wrong, but you continued on even after you knew inside you were wrong, and you continued on with that just shitty behavior that isn't normal of any grown adult, harassing and intimidating people, trying to do things that are not normal. Like, you can have an opinion on any one case. Cool, have that opinion, have some civil debates about it. Like, but going as far as calling people's jobs and schools, and like, just because you don't like their opinion, you've never met them a day in your life, you don't know a goddamn thing about them, but they're evil and awful and terrible because other people on the internet told you so. Do you know how utterly childish that sounds? I want to talk about, middle school or high school when they complain about, oh my God, 3 of you anti people wore blue eyeshadow. How middle school of you, as if blue eyeshadow is only restricted to middle school. Like, I'm sorry, what? Like, this is how childish it has gotten, right? Like, people making fun of other people's looks, or what cars they drive or don't drive, how much money they make or don't make. It's absurdity. Like, you could make all the money in the world, drive the best cars ever, and be the shittiest person on planet Earth. Some of the best people I have ever met have been people who are a little bit less fortunate because they're willing to share as much as they have, and they're not greedy. So even though they might need themselves, they're always willing to help someone else out. So, I mean, how much money you make, or what car you drive, or what brand clothes you wear, it does not say what kind of person you are. And I see a lot of that sort of classist, elitist kind of behavior over there. And it's funny because, like, more than half of those people are not rich at all. Not even close. So, the ones that make a little bit more money think that it's, like, cute to, like, be, but if they don't even realize, like, when you insult people for things like that, you're insulting people on your own side as well. They just keep it hidden because now they're embarrassed because you're trying to insult other people. I'm not, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm here. I'm not embarrassed. I'm a poor person. It's life. We're the working poor. It's really that simple. Like, there's nothing to be embarrassed about. I love when they, get online and they're like, "All these food." I don't get food stamps, so you guys can keep calling everybody the food stamp 5, but some people don't even get food stamps. I don't get food stamps, so you guys are idiots. But even if you did and you needed it, what's wrong with someone needing that help? I know quite a few people who need that kind of help and receive it. Like, trying to make fun of someone because they need help, it's like low. It's so low that it's like, it shows what kind of person you are, not the kind of person they are, the person you're trying to insult. It's the person that you are. Like, there's something wrong with you. You're unhappy with yourself, not them. Please hold. A little wanted me to open her snacky poo. Your refrigerator magnets? Yeah, they made fun of the fact that I had a slumlord that I had no refrigerator for a year. And I put that in the court documents for the judge to understand. I also have a civil suit where I'm going to sue the pants out of my slumlord. And the city is already doing that as well. But it's like, the amount of people that had to live in that complex in those conditions, and some that still do, is deplorable. And so it's like, I don't know what you're very unhappy with yourself if that's what you do all day. You're an insecure human being. Like, if that is what you do all day. Listen, as long as I have my babies, okay, then I'm perfectly happy, right? Like, I have a kiddo that's in and out and in and out of the hospital with a rare disease. I don't give a shit what anybody thinks or doesn't think about me. They don't have to watch me. We have plenty that hate watch. They don't have to watch me. They don't have to talk to me. I could give a rat's ass what they think or don't think because they're not me. They haven't walked a mile in my shoes. They have no idea who I am, and most of them have never met me a day in their lives. So if they would like to pass judgment based on what other people on the internet say, they are fools, and that is a fool's errand. Like, like I have little cherries on my refrigerator magnets and Stitch because my little one absolutely loves Stitch. I love refrigerator magnets. I'm a nerd. There is no alternative, right? Like I don't really know why these are the things that they believe. I'm not sure. Like, I don't even go by like criminal history. I had a criminal history once, dude. I've been sober 18 years since I was 21, like I don't think criminal history really has much to do with it. I was able to seal my record, most of it, years and years and years ago, because at that point I had been sober for an extremely long period of time. And in order to seal your record, you have to prove that you have done things in the community that warrant it being sealed. And so I had to prove the things that I had done over the years to be able to do that. Like, so it's like, I don't like to judge anybody based on criminal history just because, like, I was that broken person once upon a time, right? Foster care and abuse will do that to you. Like, I didn't care at that point in my life whether I lived or died. Drugs was a way to just, really just numb everything, right? Like, just numb every pain I lived with every single day. And until you deal with the things like PTSD, like that's why people continue on using, is because they're not dealing with the mental health aspect of it, which is one of the reasons why I got into working in mental health and doing volunteer advocacy, and why I took the job at the prison. Like, I don't understand why people like to use things like that. It's like, dude, I was like 18 and 19, 20. Like, I was very young. I'm almost 39 now. Like, that's a whole lifetime ago. That was a whole different me back then. I didn't give a shit whether I lived or died. It just didn't care. Like, so it's funny because, like, even with me having like a small criminal history back then, like, I'm not a huge fan of police because I've dealt with corruption firsthand in my life. I've lived it. But I'm also not against cops either. Like, I've, see a first responder or a cop, and if they're in front of me in line, even sometimes, like, if they're getting ready to pay for it, I'll just slide in and pay for it because the girls at Mary Lou's like know that that's a first responder, and I'll just point to them and I'll go like this, and they'll just let me pay for it. Because their job is hard, dude. And just because there are some corrupt assholes doesn't mean that they all are. It's a difficult job. And I think also after working in the prison, I have a better understanding of what they deal with. Although they had a gun and they have things to protect themselves, working in a prison, you can't carry a weapon. So we don't have that. We don't have that to protect ourselves. We have ourselves. We have our other employees. We have a watch that shows our GPS location when we press the button on. We have walkie-talkies to call for help. Like, but there are things that have happened, especially in a jail for the criminally insane. Violence has happened. People have gotten hurt. And I still wouldn't have liked the job any less. I loved that job. I couldn't afford the 40 grand in childcare, unfortunately. So I left, but I would love to go back one day. That would be amazing because some of these people are extremely talented and they just need some mental health help. Some people are sent over there from like Bridgewater who just haven't taken meds in like 90 days, and we have to get a court order to make them take their meds. And once they're on their meds, some of them are in there for petty crimes, some of them not so petty. But the ones that get stabilized, you see a huge difference in them, in the quality of life in general, and the way they think, the way they act, the way they respond, Oh, she does. She's very entitled. And I don't think she would give them 5 seconds of her time if it wasn't for this entire thing. I mean, look what she did with all the people who sat there outside, blood, sweat, and tears. And then she picked YouTubers who had just started covering her case to go to this event. It's like a slap in the face to these people. And then, of course, all the YouTubers are like, how dare any of you get upset that you were not invited? As it's like, dude, did any of you not pay attention to when Yeshua Turtle whined and bitched and tried to blackmail Karen because he was so upset that he wasn't getting airtime on court TV and that he wasn't being saved a seat in court? And then him and all these other people have the audacity to tell the other people that sat out there, blood, sweat, and tears, to for Karen that like, oh, how dare they get upset? How dare they have their feelings hurt? They should not feel hurt. Like, who the fuck are you to tell them how they should feel? That's exactly what a cult operates like. They tell you how to feel, tell you how to look, tell you how to be. And if you have any pushback on that, it's you who is wrong. Like, you will be torn apart. It's like, if you haven't learned by now by all the people that they tear apart, including Video Jesus, which Shane was just doing yesterday, like, I don't know what to tell you at this point. Like, just turn to exactly what he does whenever he gets upset or jealous. They do rule. They do. Love fridge magnets. Stitch is awesome. My daughter loves Stitch. She absolutely loves Stitch. A few things changed my mind. The first one was my first red flag with it is when she was trying to control what I was saying on my show. And I was talking about Procter and Buchanan's DNA that they were taking. And she did not want me to talk about it. And that was my first red flag because I did anyway. It's my show. Nobody's going to tell me what to talk about. The second red flag was that you weren't allowed to say anything in a Facebook group that would make her look bad, even if it was a fact of the case. You're not allowed to talk about it. They would just delete it and they would ban anybody who was talking about it. So I'm like, it's part of the case. It doesn't really matter. Like, we want the truth. No. And I realized then that it wasn't really about the truth for most of these people. It was really just about making Karen look as good as they possibly could and hiding things that they didn't think made her look good. And that's kind of a problem for me. And then right after that happened, and I was still in the free Karen Reed camp at that point, right after that happened, I had a couple sources that gave me a ton of stuff to look at. And I started from scratch at that point. And I said, holy shit, I got to look back at this because these things don't line up. What I'm being told on this side and the evidence that I now have is not lining up. It's just not. And so I had to look at it again. And once I started looking at it again, I started pulling all things that were blatant lies out. And I was like, holy shit. Like, and it made it a little bit easier knowing that if he could lie about me or anybody else as easily as he did, then it would have been even easier for him to lie about this for money and fame. And so I started going back with the evidence that I was given and the things that he had said and being like, holy crap, he knew some of the shit he was saying wasn't true. He wasn't checking information. Anything anybody told him, he'd put right out there as fact. Didn't check it, didn't vet it, didn't do shit. Just immediately put it out there as if it was all a fact. That's a huge problem. A huge problem. Like, that is not cool. And he didn't care what the consequences of that were. As long as it made him money, as long as he was king on top of all of the media and everybody was talking about him, and that's what he wanted. It's all he cared about. It wasn't even really about Karen at that point. It was more about how many followers he got. And then when it came down to the fact that I knew something I shouldn't know and I became public enemy number one because I knew some things about him that were not flattering, I instantly became his enemy number one because he just assumed that I would share that information, which I never would have with the world. That's really not here nor there, nor did I give a shit. But if you're going to sit there and act like everyone else is the bad person while you sit there and blast people, twist information, lie, try to play blame game on everyone else while hiding your own misgivings, dude. Like, while hiding your shitty ass dumpster fire life behavior that you are literally making fun of other people for doing the exact same thing. I have a fucking problem with that. Especially when you have no problem just lying about other people and telling your mob they're all bad. His whole point, and I looked back over the years before this case started with him and realized it's a pattern. It's a pattern of behavior. Mostly women he goes after, right? But mostly women because he's a coward. But what I find funnier is that it's a pattern. You can literally go and look at it and it'll show you a pattern of behavior, which is as soon as someone knows something they shouldn't know, he gets jealous or upset or his ego gets in the way of someone, then he attacks. Lies, gaslights, flips things, takes them out of context, puts them in his own narrative context, make those people out to be, quote, bad, horrible, either crazy people, scammers, grifters, or like he makes fun of people who are poor. Mind you, a few years ago, he was driving a hoopty. He was not rich himself, which I find extremely hilarious. That's what he does. So he makes the mob of his followers think all these people are, quote, bad, right? When in reality, it's him. He is hiding his own behavior. He's hiding his own shit. His whole point of doing that is to discredit that person. So if and when that person ever says anything about him that is true, nobody will listen. They'll just say, oh, well, you're lying because you just don't like him because he, quote, exposed you. He's not exposing anyone, dude. Nobody but himself, at least. Like, it's like trying to degrade people. Like, come on, man. Like, do better as humans. Do better. Are you sick, Jack? Let me feel better. Feel better. Yeah. That happens too, that happens too. Yeah. I mean, going through it. I mean, we all go through it in life. It's unfortunate, but it happens. You just gotta, it's about how you get out of it. It's about how you hold your head up no matter how hard it gets and just keep walking out. Just walk out of that fire. Just walk straight out of that goddamn fire as fast as you possibly can go, but you hold your head up high. It's about how you pick yourself up and dust yourself off, because even when things are hard and other things are making it harder, you have to believe that there are decent humans in the world, that the universe will give back when it needs to. You just keep putting good karma in the world and it will come back eventually. I fully believe in that if you put good karma in the world, that it will come back for you. I've lived it. I've had it happen. Like, yeah, no, I mean, I don't need to. I know I know where I made my mistakes in life. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, right? Like, there is no accountability over there. He doesn't know, and nor will you ever see him take accountability for a single thing he's ever said. If he's wrong about something, or he lies about something, or not even lies, but says something that ends up not being true, you will just never hear him correct it. He'll just never talk about it again. He will never apologize. He will never retract. He will never say, you know what, this was untrue about someone and this person got blasted and now I feel bad. Like, that information wasn't even true. He will just never talk about that specific thing again. That's a damn shame. Like, no accountability. You are absolutely right with that. There's just none. Maestro said the most rabid ones, there's always a reason why they're so personally invested. They're projecting their own troubles. I've seen a lot of that. The projection, I want you guys to, realize that everything that he accuses someone else of, every single thing he accuses someone else of, is something he is either currently doing at that moment or has done. I have never, and I kid you not when I say someone needs to study his brain one day, I have never seen that amount of projection a day in my life. I've never seen anything like it. The level of egotistical narcissism coupled with projection that much, like, we know projection's a thing, but we're talking a level of projection that's I've never seen anything like it. I have never seen anything like it. Sitting there pointing fingers at everybody else about all these things he thinks that they're doing, when in reality, he's doing those exact same things, either right that minute or constantly in his life. It's like, what? And almost always the person he's accusing isn't doing it. It's him. It's almost like when you have like a spouse or a boyfriend or a girlfriend that was cheating, but they're always accusing you of cheating. Like, especially if you've ever been with like someone who's abusive, been there, done that in my life, although it was like a whole lifetime ago at this point. But I remember like him trying to gaslight by like being like, well, you must be cheating on me because you took 15 minutes at the store instead of 10. It should only have taken you 10. Like, just the gaslighting, right? And they're accusing you. It's because it's something they're doing, right? If anybody's ever lived that, they know exactly what I'm talking about. He does it on a level I've never seen before. I've never seen. Like, that girl video Jesus posted on X, her ex-boyfriend was found dead in class as an accident, but she says found with injuries that clearly showed he was beaten, not a fall. Well, I mean, here's the thing. maybe that's why she believes Karen's innocent. But again, that would be a bias that she's not even realizing that she's having. If we went by that, then when my fiance died in 2006 in a house fire, that he went back in to save other people, I could say that the story that they told or that they said that it was an accident, I don't believe, because in my heart of hearts, I know something else happened. I can't prove it, but I know something else happened. But I'm not going to use that specific bias to magically be like, oh, well, this is what happened. You know what I mean? Like that's what happened 100% in this case. You cannot apply the same thing to both cases. Like them trying to put Sandra Birchmore's case close to this one. They're two separate cases, you know? And I do think that too. Like Jack is right. Like they think they found this sense of community, this sense of belonging. They feel like they belong to something and they don't want to give it up. Like find something more constructive to belong to. I could name 100 things, but belonging to something that is awful and terrible and is doing terrible things to people shouldn't make you feel good. It should make you feel yucky. Like I don't condone that kind of behavior, even if it came from people over on the anti side. I do not condone the behavior, period. You are not going to harass people, lie about people to manipulate and get your own way. Like, and it happens on both sides. It just doesn't happen as much over here, right? Like, but either way, I don't condone it, no matter who it comes from. It's not normal behavior. That's not normal. Like, it's just not. Justice is coming. It is on its way. That's what I like to say. It's on its way. It literally is on its way. I know. You know, it's really sad. Let's hope that it doesn't, because I think it's insane. Like, their timeline is all posts of abandoned cute pets. Meanwhile, they're wishing cancer on people. Yeah, that's just, I've seen shit like that. And I'm like, dude, I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy what my daughter goes through on a daily basis. I wouldn't wish that on any person. I wouldn't wish the situation on any parent, any godparent, any cousin, uncle, aunt, family. I don't wish it on anyone, nor would I. Okay. So I don't understand how they could just so gleefully wish things like that on people. It's disgusting. It's deplorable. It's not normal behavior. You're a hateful, mean, angry, insecure person if that's the things that you need to say. Oh, thank you, Diana. I appreciate it, girl. All I did was flatten it. I still got to do my roots and some underneath, but all I did was flatten it. It was getting a little frizzy. I don't know. After I put it up, I slept with it after the shower, and like, you know, I had that like frizztastic. So I just flattened it. Just flattened it. Diana said, I see Karen Reid followers demanding and bullying people into submission to believe what they want you to believe. Keyboard warriors with mob mentality, whatever happened to having your own opinion. Yeah, they don't want you to do that. Like, you could, you know, like I've said the last couple of days with you guys, I am extremely proud of you guys for allowing people who believe that Karen is innocent to come here and ask questions and watch without jumping on them and immediately and, you know, just disparaging them, because we're better than that. That's not what we want, right? We want people to listen. We want them to ask questions. We want to point them to where the actual pieces of evidence are so they can look for themselves. They don't have to take our word for it. They can look for themselves. And I think I am humbled by how amazing you guys have been in pointing them to where they can find that information and just being so kind. And this is why I love my community so much, because you guys aren't jerks. You're very intelligent people from all walks of life, like all walks of life, very intelligent people. And you guys have been so good with just pointing them to where the evidence is and welcoming them here with open arms. And I love that, because these aren't people that are out there harassing people and intimidating people. Most of them find the behavior deplorable themselves, but they're looking for a place to watch this trial. They're looking for a place to get information that isn't an echo chamber, that isn't inciting harassment, but that they also aren't going to have their opinion they're going to be attacked for their opinion. And it was really sad to hear from one of them that they had tried a bunch of, like, I guess you want to call them anti-Karen Reid channels. I call them truth, you know, but apparently they had tried a bunch of ones before they found us. And they didn't, not a single one did they not get attacked in the chat. And I find that really sad because I don't ever want that to be my channel. I don't ever want that here. I want, unless they're coming here to be snarky and insulting and on purpose, which we've seen quite a few times, then have at it, because they should, skedaddle out if that's how they feel. This is not the channel for them. If you want to come here and just be snarky and try to insult people, this is not the channel for you. But you guys have been awesome with just pointing them to where they can find the evidence and answering their questions, which I think is super important. If people are asking questions, that means they still have an open mind. They still might think she's innocent, but that means they haven't settled 100% on that. And if we can just show them where the evidence is, maybe the common sense and maybe the critical thinking shines through and they realize what was put in front of them and what they have been told are two very different things. What they have been told does not match with the actual pieces of evidence and the actual explanations for things. And I think it's important that we allow that dialogue, and you guys have been absolutely amazing when it comes to that. Maestro said the first people Aiden did this to was the group that made him lose his job at that school. Yeah. He went through social media posts from the students and mothers who reported him and shamed them. Yeah, that's what he does. But he also does it in a way that's like not true. Like, you know what I mean? He spins it and takes information and like contorts it to like match the narrative that he is saying. It's disgusting. It's just gross. It's really, really disgusting. Like some tactics now, and that's why he's so personally invested. Yeah, it's, gross. It's, makes me feel yucky too. It's just gross. Like he does belong behind bars for the rest of his miserable life. Unfortunately, that's literally where he belongs. For the rest of his miserable life, he belongs behind bars, never will be allowed to touch the internet a day in his life ever again. I honestly think that the court should force him to close down any business that's in his name, any website, and anything else. Shut it all down. Like, it's based on lies and BS. It shouldn't be allowed to exist in its current form at all. Sorry, guys, I heard my phone go off. I just wanted to make sure I didn't have to thank anybody. I have so many notifications, it's hard to see. But make sure, by the way, while we're at it, the Gangster Disciples, now I love it. Make sure that you hit the like button, the subscribe button if you haven't already. You send the video to someone who may not know that we even exist, like maybe they don't know that we have a channel. Maybe they don't know that dialogue can happen, and they can ask questions. Like, send it to someone who might want to watch with us, who might want to watch the trial with us. They're more than welcome. And if you can, and only if you can, obviously, to help out the channel, to make sure we still survive and we can bring this kind of content, we appreciate any and all donations, and we can only get them from Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal. We don't have monetization right now. We're working on it, but we don't have things like super chats and super stickers and memberships. Hopefully that'll be up and running maybe in a month or so. Hopefully, YouTube is notoriously slow. So, but there's a ticker at the bottom of the screen that shows all of the information for donations. So if you would like to, you can do it there. I don't read full names. I think that's not smart. People can be, harassed and intimidated, and their government names don't need to be told. So I usually just first name. If you want to remain anonymous, you just write anonymous or ANON. Cash App, you can't really write anything, so just put a heart and I'll know not to read your name. But I appreciate and love all of you. We didn't get any that I have to read now when I was not live, so that's perfect. Diana said he was hammering everyone last night. Oh, he was live last night, bringing up names, all to influence people, no doubt. I just hope people will listen to the information before them and not come to a conclusion on who you like. Well, see, that's the thing, right? Is he's going to sully anyone's name he doesn't want them to listen to, right? So I'm going to be enemy. Kevin's going to be an enemy. Like anybody who they might listen to and like rationally get explanations in real life, like evidence, like is not going to want them listening to us. It's just that simple. He's not. So he's just going to keep hammering it that we're all shitty, awful people. That's just his thing. Like one juror, I was told, like from reading media, just basically says that person like took themselves out. I don't know. There might have been another one there was one I think that was dropped on there, like from the court, and then there was one they replaced Friday with another one that they found that I think got out of it on her own somehow. Like maybe it was a hardship. I don't know. Maybe it was a sick kid. I have no idea. But I don't have any more information on that. I've tried, but I'm not getting really much of anything. Hey, morning. Good morning, Kim. Good morning, Jen. Oh, hey, kitties. You made it on the road heading back from vacay. Well, hope you had a good vacation. Everybody deserves a vacation. Yes, it is. It's a Sunday fun day. It's a Sunday fun day. DJ said, I think more people are coming to realize the truth. There are some who will never listen or give up, but it seems there are many who are realizing who she really is. I think that documentary really did a serious damage to her credibility, as it should have, because she has ever-changing stories. Karen's story has changed a multitude of times, okay? She didn't come up with the story about watching him walk up to the door until 8 or 9 months into this entire thing. That was, she never had said that to the police, like never. So I think that one was cooked up between the attorneys. Thank you, Law Review. I appreciate that. I think it was cooked up by the attorneys, to be honest. That whole, he walked up to the door and poked his head in thing. Because we know he didn't. We know by the GPS coordinates he didn't even get close to the door. That he was found on the lawn. Like, so I find it funny, like, that at that point, people aren't starting to question, like, holy shit, hold on a second. Holy crap. She said, Steve, we know who it is. We know who did it, Steve. You all know who did it, right? She says that. Also, if you notice, like in that clip in the very beginning, she had lots of Botox, like lots of Botox down here. And now it's like lots of Botox up here. You can tell the difference. But even so, then on this thing with Ted, she says, and looks at Alan Jackson for the answer first. Looks at him first. And he goes, we don't know, Ted. We don't know who did it. And it's not for us to know. It's not for us to know. But now you're telling the court that once again, you know who did it. And then naming one of the people who weren't even there. At what point does any of the people following them go, wait a second, we know Colin wasn't even there. They said they knew who did it. Then they said they didn't know and it's not for them to know. Now they're naming people they think they did it. Which is it? Which is it? Like, which is it? Like, the fact that people don't stop and go, wait a second, she's changed that story 3 times. The fact that people don't stop and look at the video of her backing into John's car and realize that she clears that taillight. Her taillight never touches John's car. Her car does, but her taillight completely clears it. They see it for a second and go, yep, that's how she broke her taillight. Right there. I had to watch that thing 100 times before I realized, holy shit, it clears it. The taillight clears the car. And also we know that, 3-5 miles an hour, you're not going to smash your taillight like that, even the way she bumped his car. Also, we know that all her bells and whistles would have been going off. Beep, 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 beep. They were on. We heard them in the garage. They were on. So we heard all of them. You didn't stop. You kept going until you popped into it a little. Like, I'm sorry, what? The whole, Elle Magazine called. Do you think I should do it? Like, that was such a bad look. No, you shouldn't do it. You're on trial for murder. You should shut the fuck up and reserve your right to shut the fuck up. Like, her attorney's not like, and then of course Alan Jackson's like, yeah, you should do it. Of course you should, like trying to pump up her ego. It's like, you don't pump up a narcissist's ego. That's when they go overboard. And as a pure narcissist, what did Karen do? She went overboard, right? Like, she went overboard. She is very unlikable. She should stop doing anything, but she won't. She won't, right? Kim said, I watched a good bit of the Canton Town meeting on YouTube and it had some really good info. One of the Free Karen Reed got shut down pretty good too. Yeah, well, good. Good. Stop acting like a dummy, Steve. Yeah, you're all in on the joke. You're all in on this joke. He was pulverized, she claims. And they talk about that nose, right? The cut on his nose. And now we know that Karen pulled that piece of glass out. So it's like, but you knew you pulled the piece of glass out. So if you knew you pulled that piece of glass out, but you're still talking about the scratch on his nose, that would clearly be a lie. But again, they don't stop and look at any of these little things and go, wait a second, obviously she's lying about some things. Like, clearly. They can't even concede to the taillight being gone at 5 and 8 a.m. with pictures and video that exist. They're literally looking at the pictures and video that exist and going, I see nothing. I don't see anything. I see nothing. Like, it's like saying this curtain isn't black, that it's purple. If the mob said to say it's purple, they would keep saying that this is purple, even though it's black. What? Like, what? Hold on a second. It's like that's the whole point of like a cult, though, right? Is like to say like you're not seeing what you actually saw. You didn't hear what you heard. You only heard and saw what we are telling you did. Like, that's the whole point of a mob. Like, oh my God, yes. That's exactly what it reminded me of. Lori Vallow in court. For some reason, my mind went immediately to her, like with a whole face of makeup on in Hawaii, like just living life. Like, what the hell? Like, she's having the time of her life. Yeah, she has upgraded her life while she's asking other people to get small pizzas and smaller grocery orders. It's fucking amazing. She even admitted her obstacle proximity sensors were working on the, yeah. And so we know they were. Yeah, they go back to the butt dials. 227, that's been debunked 100 times, and butt dials. And I say the same thing. Do the butt dials make her innocent in any way? Do they show her innocence? No. Do they show anyone else's guilt? No. So so they go, do the butt dials just mean nothing? Yes, they mean nothing. That's exactly right. They mean nothing. Also, we know Richard Green didn't know how to read the data. So, because then they're like, well, they had to have talked. No, it went to voicemail. The ones that did show up said it went to voicemail. But again, if you have somebody reading data that they don't know how to read, that's going to happen, unfortunately. Like, oh my, imagine if you put all of those people on an island together. My God, the big brother of prison, the big brother of prison. Can you imagine? Oh my God, imagine. That would be amazing. I that would be pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie. Big brother of prison was Laurie Vallow, Sarah Boone, and a few other people. I can't. We have an anonymous donation of $22.22. Thank you, Anonymous, very much. I appreciate you. That's our first one of the show. Thank you, thank you, thank you. More than you know. I appreciate it. Might not seem like a lot to some people, but it means a lot to me. On an island of minions. How many clowns jump out of the clown car, you guys? How many? How freaking many? Oh, that's awful. I know they do have a lot of flooding down there. I bet the weather was beautiful though, right? Tell me it was beautiful. I just realized, you guys, that Easter is coming, and I'm like, oh my God, I haven't gotten anything for the kids for Easter yet. Like, stress. I have eggs. Does that count? Like, I have eggs for the Easter egg hunt. I have a lot of eggs for the Easter egg hunt. I just got to get like bags of candy, and we put like change in them. I've been saving change for that, and some dollar bills also. So we let them like, we pack them in there so they don't know whether it's like change or dollar bills. So they pick it up, and once they pick it up, they can't drop it again. Sometimes there's more in change than there is in a dollar bill. Sometimes you get $1 and there's $1 in it, and you might have $2 in change in an egg. So we get sneaky with it. We get sneaky. We also put like little toys, like sticky hands and things like that in the eggs too, like bracelets and rings and little necklaces for the girls, dinosaurs and little toys and squishy toys for the boys. Like, they have a blast. And now I have a huge yard. These kids can just go ham sauce with the Easter eggs. I'm like a little kid. Like, I'm not doing the Easter egg hunt, obviously, but I get to like put the eggs out, and I'm like a little kid watching them do it. I'm like full of joy just watching these little kids run around and grab the eggs, because I just remember as a kid like making sure that I wanted to grab as many eggs as I could possibly get. I wanted to know what was in them. You got to sit on the floor and you got to open each egg. You got to see what you got for some loot. You know what I mean? And oh, the memories to be a kid again, right? Have no freaking responsibilities and no stress. Like just to be a kid and just feel like the next exciting thing is like April vacation and Easter eggs, you know? Be so fun. Oh, that's good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Everybody, and I literally mean everybody deserves a mental health break and a vacation. I don't care if it's 3 days, 5 days. I think 7 is probably ideal for like a vacation. And I think everybody deserves like to be able to have that sort of like timeout time of just relaxation because I just even think for like mental health and physical health purposes, like everybody needs it. Everybody should attempt it at least once a year, even if you go camping. My family does a lot of camping. We love camping, whether it's in a tent or in an RV or in a cabin, and you get people together to help pay for it. Like, do something, you know? Usually, if you go to like a state park, it's pretty cheap to go camping. So, I mean, it's a blast. Everybody should find a way to woosa, you know? The picture, yeah, it does get tiresome. It does. Like, it really, really does. You're all right, Christine. It does. It gets tiresome. Like, it's because, like, the picture they took with the knuckles, like, that was weeks and weeks after. There's pictures of him before that, after John died, with nothing. With nothing. And it's like, that's fresh. Like, what happened there is just a couple days old, maybe a week tops. A month later, I think it was taken a month after John died, it wouldn't still look like that. It would have been healed already. So it's amazing to me how many people are like, look, see that picture from a month after John dies. Definitely, he beat him up. Like, dude, he wasn't even there. He left before Karen and John ever arrived out front. Like, you guys are a bunch of absolute fucking idiots if you think that it would still look like that a month later. What really gets me the most is when someone like a nurse or someone who claims to be a nurse who's like, I'm a nurse. Yes, it would. Sometimes I feel like they just say they are when they're not to just try to be right. Because my grandmother was a nurse, and obviously with my kids' medical, I learned quite a bit over the years. My daughter has a rare terminal illness. Like, you just kind of learn a lot. And my sister has epilepsy and has her entire life. So like, you just learn a lot, right? And so for anybody who's a nurse to say like that would still be there, it's like, you need to go back to school. Maybe these people need to take IQ tests before being allowed in some of these very serious jobs because nope, no good. No good. Like, Jennifer said, I have a Toyota, which manufactures Lexus. And let me tell you, the sensors are top notch. She was warned way ahead of hitting John and before bumping his car. Yep. Me too, Jennifer. Me freaking too. Gonna have to visit. We're gonna have to do a camping trip. I do Saco River every year as an adult trip. It's like we do like a long weekend, Thursday to Sunday or Friday to Monday. As adults, the kids get to stay with their grandparents or whatever. But I love that trip. It's an amazing trip. It's so much fun. It's very relaxing. You get to float down that tube, down the Saco River, all the way back to either your campsite or the places that you park so that you can drive back to wherever you stay. And anybody who has never done it should. You absolutely should. It is an absolute blast. Girl with an eagle eye said, D. Beanick, WCVB on Friday. Reed's position in the corner of the courtroom allows people in the jury pool to see her face. Some are looking in her direction. Occasionally, she seems to be looking back. Of course she is. My family, the only one that bops eggs to see who has the strongest egg. I get mad that like only tiny pieces of candy will fit in there. I'm like, what? I have to get the bigger ones for some of the bigger, like, we got I have like, even though there's only like 5 of them, but I got like a mixed bag of candy and it has like 5 of the Lifesaver gummies. I love Lifesaver gummies, but the packages are like this and they don't fit in the regular small eggs. So thankfully I had like 5 bigger eggs that I could put it in the bigger ones. And the little nerds, the little tiny nerd boxes that are like this big each, like those don't fit in the regular eggs. So I had to put them in the bigger eggs too. I have at least half of the eggs ready to go. The other 250 eggs are still empty. Yeah, exactly. And then they say it's not, and it's like, bro, were you there? Like, well, I think that he said like he fell on his knuckles, put his hand down, like slipped on ice and put his hand down. So it's like, dude, if that's what he said happened, like I've actually done that before. Funny enough. It was forever ago, but it happened. Yeah, it is the most asinine theory. That and dog bites. Those are the two most asinine theories I've ever heard in my life, considering there is no dog DNA. There's not even a fucking dog hair. There's no puncture marks. There's no bottom jaw. There's no bites. Certainly no scratches. And we have the bite patterns of Chloe from before John died. We have the cast mold now of after, and the paws. I don't know how they think they're going to get around that lie, because Hank, if most of you saw my thumbnail for this video, it is Hank in his AI form bashing the word lies. And the whole point was Hank is setting these lies on fire. He is bashing them to oblivion of pieces with evidence, with actual evidence and data. Because you can't get around the evidence and the data. You can't explain away the evidence and the data. Like, see, that's the funny thing. We knew that some of the jurors from the first trial were not too happy with her, like, facial expressions and her mannerisms, her body language, which I find funny because it's not great, right? Like, it's just not great. Her body language speaks volumes and it ain't great. Like, people were not too fond of it in the first trial. And she can't control herself, you guys. We know this. She cannot control herself. Like, she just can't. Like, so it's going to be quite funny to see, like, what she chooses to try to, like, if she gets so angry that she does the whole thing again in front of the jury, like this. Like, it's like, you're on trial for murder. It's not a good look to be making faces at the prosecutors or the judge or the jury because you're mad or upset. I've never seen someone so bold unless they were completely, like, unmedicated, crazy, like, business. Like, that business. Yeah. But come on. Karen has the worst resting bitch face. I would be judging her by how she presents herself in court, especially acting like she is the head lawyer. That's another thing I've never seen someone do, is, like, sit there and act as if they're their own attorney with that many attorneys. If you have that many attorneys and you need that many attorneys, looking like you need to be involved in touching paperwork and giving pieces of evidence and going on the lap, it's just not a good look. I don't know why her lawyers think it is, or why they're allowing her to do it. It's a terrible look. It shows you have severe control issues and that you can't just let them do their job, that you have to control the way that they do their job and that you have to be involved. That is what it's telling a jury. I would advise my client, if I was an attorney, absolutely to never do that. Like, if you want to be involved, let's do that, but behind closed doors, not in front of the jury or the court, especially in something as public and media focused as this case. It shows that you have a severe control issue, that you can't just let the lawyers do the high priced lawyers that you need 5 or 6 of to do their jobs. Like, you can't. You have to be involved. I've never seen anything like it. But it shows them that she can't even relinquish control to them. So what makes them think that she would ever have been able to just drop John off and mosey on home? That's not giving her control. She would have lost control at that point. Hence why she backed up at 24 miles an hour, which is not disputable. That's the part that's amazing to me. Is it's not disputable whether she backed up or how fast she backed up. It's in her car data. You can't fudge it. Like, so all these people are like, she didn't hit him with her car. She didn't. Why is she backing up that fast and going that far? She did. So she can say she didn't until the cows come home, but it's in her car data. You can't fudge that. So she did. All right. So I'm not understanding. Like, they don't stop and go, shit. Like, but she did back up that fast. Like, they just go, nope, she didn't do it. She didn't back up. So the car data's in on it. The feds are in on it too. Because if the car data was fudged, only the feds would have known, and, like, arrests and indictment. Yeah. No. Yeah. Like, they just completely lose any sort of normal thinking at that point and just go, nope, she didn't do it. Innocence, innocence, innocence. Like, it doesn't matter what you show them. You could show them a video of her doing it right this very second. Her car could have recorded everything that she did in that moment. And I'm betting with that 8 gigabytes of data that we have, that the defense expert The defense expert last trial. Hear that? Hear that, free Karen Reed, for the people who want to keep saying that the defense didn't have any chance. Somebody said the other day they didn't have any chance, or arguing with me, to do any testing on the car. Yeah, they did. Some they declined, and some, like the chip on, chip off, they did the chip off last time, and they missed 8 gigabytes or 3 lines of data. Like, so interesting. And once again, when it was done again, their experts are allowed to stand right there with the other experts watching it happen. So if they think something's not like on the up and up, the expert can say, whoa, 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 stop, hold on, wait a second. Like, and they can report that to the court. You will find that everything was done the way it was supposed to be. So they can't argue that it was altered, which they're not going to argue that it was altered in any way. So it's like, you guys are arguing things not even the defense is arguing. That's what they don't seem to understand. The defense is stipulating to the fact that those are facts by not arguing against them. Okay. And they can't, because they had an expert there. So they can't then say, oh, well, it was tampered with, because the expert was, their expert was allowed to stand right there and watch and be right there. So it's like, they're arguing things that not even the defense is arguing at this point. Hank will be amazing for you guys to watch him do cross-examinations. I think you guys are going to be in absolute awe. I'm hoping one day to pick his brain. I kid you not. One day, Hank, if you're watching, if you hear this, I would love to interview you when this is all over. I would love to pick your brain, even on some of the Whitey stuff. I think a lot like him, and I would love to just pick his legal brain. Honestly, I really would. Like, oh yes, that would be fun, right? A behavior panel. Like body language experts. Let's see if we can get a body language expert on here. That would be fun. That would be fun, right? Hank. I think you should have to do an IQ test for some of these really important jobs. I kid you not. Like, I literally kid you not. I feel like that's what needs to happen these days. Like, because if you're so easily fooled, I don't think I want to trust you with that important job. Like, she's very impulsive. Karen sometimes flashes her Jack Nicholson crazy face from The Shining. Do you know immediately when you said Jack Nicholson, before I could even read the rest of it, The Shining is immediately what my brain thought of? Like, she is like a teenage girl that you can't control. Not even just the facial expressions, but pretty much everything else. Freak said, I'm fairly sure now the bag of pickle chips was given to her to make her shut up outside. She did start eating them, but she didn't stop talking. Next week, they're going to try a foot-long sub. You're going to have to try something, because she's the only one without a gag order. But once again, I think Hank did that on purpose, and it was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, well, that's what she did. Nobody drives at 24 miles an hour in reverse unless they're upset and angry. You're not doing it because you're just happy and skipping along. You're not like, let me back up at 24 miles an hour and gun it at 75% pedal. Only somebody who's very upset is going to do that. And as we know, she was upset. Well, the chair isn't new. This is an oldie but a goodie. I've had this chair for a couple of years. But the mic is. The mic is new. Thank you, Amy. The mic is new. The chair is old. I've had this for I started my show with this chair a couple of years ago. So she's an oldie but a goodie. Except my butt goes numb. That's why you see me guys like moving like around like this. I did put like a cushion thing on my Amazon wish list thing that Freak was like, why don't you make one? And I was like, I don't know. Just make it. And I was like, all right. So I put one on there. Not that I'm expecting to get it, but like, it was cute. It's like a little flower, and it fits in a chair just like this. And maybe my butt won't go numb and my legs won't hurt. Maybe, just maybe. So Freak said, what have you seen of Hank so far? It's going to be much different trial from last time. No, yeah, it will be. And Lally just, it doesn't have that sort of like presence that Hank does. He has his own sort of, he's very monotone, like Alessi, kind of monotone-ish. He had great questions, but there were even some questions on cross, and I'm like, why isn't he asking this or this or this? Like, I had some criticisms last time. Not that he didn't do the best with what he had. He did. But I think hot for Hank, she says, I think my AI nailed it. He nailed a pretty good liking of him in the thing for today's video. They did a good job. I like, typed in what I thought like AI could make him look like, and they did a pretty good job, not gonna lie. They did a pretty damn good job. So good job, AI. Yeah, I don't think we've seen that before of her eating like pickle chips or anything else. Like, I do believe she does have MS. I think Jen said that she had MS too, or maybe it was someone else. I can't remember, but someone in the family or one of the witnesses also had it, and they had talked about it a lot before this ever happened. So I think she does have MS. I don't know about IBD, but it's a very real possibility, Although I don't see her getting up a ton, not that she needs to, during the trial and being like, I need a medical assistance to be able to use the bathroom 75 times. Not that you're going to have to with that, but still, like, I find it funny that she doesn't need to ever ask for like a bathroom break or a recess or anything. Yeah, it's about the presence, right? And where Jackson was too much, and I knew that was going to be for Massachusetts, it was just going to be too much. The people here were not going to like it. This is not California. Massachusetts is not California. It's almost like living in two different worlds. Literally, I kid you not when I say that. It's like living in two different worlds. California and Massachusetts are two very different places. Two very different places. And the things that people will put up with in either place is very, very different. Like, so I knew that a lot of the stuff that Jackson did in California that he was going to try to come here and do were not things that people in Massachusetts or Boston were really going to love. And they didn't, right? Like, they didn't. The way he carried himself and the sort of like bullying he did, like, people didn't like it. And I knew they wouldn't. Hank has that sort of way of being able to like get his point across, right? Not be an asshole about it, but be firm about it. And even throw in a little snark if he has to, without being too snarky, without being too much of a bully, just being very matter of fact with it. And that's more what, again, he's from here though, so he sort of knows what will play with the jury here, and Jackson doesn't. He's at a disadvantage. But he doesn't want Yannetti doing the opening. Can't do the opening, Yannetti. If you let Yannetti do the closing, I would find that hilarious. I don't think you'll find him doing the closing either. But if you allow Alessi to do either one of those, you have lost the jury completely in anything. Like, right? A blow-up donut from my butt. Got to be a large donut. I have a large ass. Just saying. It's going to have to be a large blow-up donut. Like... He was in over his head, I feel like. He definitely was, Jack. I absolutely 100% think he was a little bit in over his head. But he did a great job with what he had. But he had to spend too much time sort of debunking that conspiracy theory to actually put a good timeline. You always need visuals when it comes to juries, things that are going to stick in their mind, right? You need somebody to explain things in layman's terms to them so that all the legalese doesn't get lost, right? All the legalese, all the words that you use when it comes to like the courtroom and stuff, like they're not necessarily going to know what any of that means, right? Like, so you want experts that are going to explain things in a way that everybody understands, and that you give a ton of visuals and a timeline that you can nail down, that in their brain and they can take notes and they can say, this happened at this time, this happened at this time, and this happened at this time. So the defense is saying this, that couldn't have happened because at this time and at this time, these things were happening. So there's no time for this thing to have happened because we have the data and the evidence for those two things. So it's going to be important to nail down a pretty good timeline and give these people visual representations of what happened and how it happened, right? Accident reconstructions, things like that. They're going to need to see it. I definitely don't know about that brain tumor. It also could have been malignant. Something that was there, they found that they, got, just found out was not cancerous or whatever. That's another thing. All the drinking she does, and she's still drinking and still talking about it, is just not only deplorable, as she said, making bad decisions, a lot of drinking, and she continues to drink that much. It's a bad look, dude. You're literally being accused of killing your boyfriend while DUIing as you consistently keep drinking. Doesn't matter if you're driving or not, dude, you're drinking. You should actually, with all the, like, first of all, she admits drinking still, okay? And all the pictures of her out to dinner with alcohol. At this point, if I was the prosecution, I would be asking for alcohol testing. And that should be done every 24 hours because she clearly can't stop drinking. Like, they have machines you can blow into. She should have to have one of those. They have them for your car, but they also have them for home for people who are on like an ankle bracelet that they have to blow into them like it's random. And I think that's something that they should have given her, hands down. Anybody else who would have been involved in a crime that had anything to do with alcohol or drugs would have had alcohol and drug testing anyway. So I'm not really sure why she didn't have it. Once again, I'd have to believe that's an elitist thing because anybody else would have had it. Anyone else, me, you, or anyone else would have had to had alcohol or drug testing, and no judge would have let us weasel out of it. They would have been like, nope, this is about alcohol or drugs. You're having that testing. Like, right? Right? It's not just me that thinks this as I start talking about it. Like, literally, you're exactly right. Like, exactly right. Jackson looks extremely defeated. I don't know if you guys noticed, but he looked worried. He looked stressed the hell out at the last hearing. And he's tried to delay this trial 75 times thus far, and he's not doing a great job at it. Let's just put it that way, you know? Yeah, I'm gonna say, yeah, they know they're in deep shit. Me, I do. Navin, I think Trooper Paul needs to sit this one out, and it's not because I think he's a bad guy. I think he's just too nervous and doesn't explain things in a way people can understand. He stutters a little. He's got a stutter, and he's nervous on top of it, his anxiety. So we need someone that's gonna be able to explain it where people can follow and understand with some visuals. So I think poor Trooper Paul should probably sit this one out. Not because he's a bad guy, just because we need someone who can explain it a little bit better than he can. Anyone else enjoy the Audit guy smack down the grandstanding by the retired cop at the camp? I didn't see it. You guys are gonna have to send me a clip of that specific part, or at least tell me the timestamps so that I don't have to sit through the whole damn thing. SMK, that's kind of none of any of our business. Whatever happened with Erin is between Erin and her family. I don't think that addressing someone's personal life like that is appropriate. We don't know. And honestly, I don't care because that's their personal business. That family has been through hell and back. So I don't think speculating on their personal issues is the appropriate thing to do, really. She does. Karen does need attention so badly, Jennifer. I think she has very clear attention-seeking behavior, but then again, so does a sword turtle. That's attention-seeking behaviors. Got his little pen with attention-seeking behaviors. They do have another accident reconstructionist. We know this. He was definitely in over his head. Poor guy. You know? Poor guy. His eyebrows are fading. No goddamn eyebrows. Speaking of eyebrows, I need to get my eyebrows done desperately. I just need them waxed. I usually pluck. Last time I had them waxed was a very long time ago, but like they need a good waxing. Yeah, it should have been a term of her pretrial. It should have. Aperture. Yeah, I've went over their website. I keep getting text messages from them now because I visited their website and signed up for their mailing stuff because I looked at it all. But I keep getting goddamn text messages from them, like from their the robo text messages. Trooper Paul was bad. I hope they don't call him. He was so nervous he couldn't even speak hardly. And that was the problem is I understood what he was saying, but that would have been really hard for a lot of people to follow, and you want the jury to follow it. You do. I think Trooper Paul will lay the ground to introduce the data he extracted and then the reconstructionist guy to put it all together. Yeah, I think that's probably exactly what's going to happen. He's probably just going to read the data that they took out for the first time, and we're going to have somebody else who's going to be able to read the data that they took out this time. Maybe. Shouldn't be so flippant. Maybe it's a very real possibility. I think we're dealing with people here that want to have a lack of accountability when it comes to anything, everything and anything. we're going to see a lot of the same sort of excuses that we saw the last time, for trial, which is like, oh, well, the prosecution is just so corrupt. We can't listen to any of the pieces of evidence. And it's like, that's not reasonable doubt. No jury is going to say, well, we don't like what Proctor did. So all of the evidence, even evidence he had nothing to do with, didn't touch, nothing, like, is just out. That's not how a jury is going to look at it, nor how they should look at it. You want to take out anything that Trooper Proctor touched, fine. There's plenty of other pieces of evidence that show her guilt without some of the things that Trooper Proctor had anything to do with. You know what I mean? And as we know, the audit even showed there was no tampering of evidence. There was no conspiracy. There was no cover up. There was no corruption. So I can only imagine that argument of theirs isn't going to work so well if the prosecution wants to bring in some of this, Yeah, his nerves were shot. I felt really bad for Trooper Paul. He tried, but he was so nervous. And Jackson was being a dick. Let's get real. He was just being a dick. He was treating him like he was a hostile witness, and he wasn't a hostile witness. So, I mean, come on, man. Like, come on. He didn't understand ninth grade science, but put himself up as an expert. I think they called him because he was the accident reconstructionist. I think that's the only reason why, is because like he was the state police hired constructionist. You know what I mean? I think if they learned their lesson, they would send him back to some school to learn some of the stuff that he didn't know. And it's not that he didn't know it. Maybe it's that he just couldn't get it out while he was there. I know, like, for me, I'm like one of those people that can like read it in a book and then I know it, right? Like, I take tests pretty easily. My sister, on the other hand, under pressure, she will completely fail out. Even though she knows it all, under pressure of like a time limit, or like, like, say it to me right now, like, she will just completely shut down and fail out completely. But if there's no pressure and she has no time limit, she'll pass it with flying colors. So I also think it's just about the way some people are or learn, you know what I mean? Or speak, like, and I think the poor man was under a lot of pressure. So maybe he did know and he just couldn't get it out with all the nervousness and Jackson acting like an asshole, or maybe he didn't. But it's a better way for the state police to learn how to retrain him then. Retrain his ass. If you don't think he knew it, like, time to retrain him so that he does know it, because you don't want somebody out there that might have to testify that doesn't know it, right? You want someone who knows it. Yeah, it was nasty to watch. It was nasty. Like, he was just being an asshole, like, straight up. The defense has been trying really hard to get the new car data guy out. Yeah. Gee, I wonder why. I wonder why. Wonder why, y'all. Jennifer said in the last trial, it was a lot easier for the defense to bully Judge Bev into getting their way on a bunch of bullshit. And poor Lally was denied everything. I know. And it kind of pissed me off because some of the basic stuff he was asking for shouldn't have been denied. But Hank Brennan isn't going to just take no laying down, sort of like Lally did. He's going to be like, okay, well, I'm going to refile a motion or a motion to reconsider. Like, sorry, not sorry. Like, there are some basic things that Lally should have been allowed that he wasn't last time that were perplexing to me. Like, and yeah, she was like, they bitch and cry about like the judge interrupting the defense, but she interrupted Lally more than anyone. Like, some people do, I can work great under pressure, but sometimes I go boom. Some people do go boom. Like, the stress just sort of gets at them, like, Jack said Judge Canoe. Judge Canoe. That's what they called her. Judge Canoe. Better not put up with any garbage from the defense this time, or from anyone. Let's hope not, but I don't have the faith that she will, because right after she said, I'm not going to put up with it anymore, she put up with it 2 seconds later. So Navin said then Trooper Paul should have realized his limitations. He actually said there was no possible way a scratch could be on the Lexus before the 29th. He should have conceded that argument. No, yeah, he should have definitely conceded that argument. There's definitely a possibility, but I think the way he was like explaining it was something like something like because it was like a fresh scratch or something like that's how he knew that like it didn't happen a long time ago. I forget the way he said it, but like that's how I took it. Tenacious P said, in snow, I wouldn't drive at 25 miles an hour going forward, let alone reverse. Well, that's the thing. So you have to remember, when she did it, people are like, why would she wouldn't do that? Like, you gotta hear the FKR that's like, oh, it was a blizzard. When she wouldn't do that in a blizzard, you'd barely be able to move. You have to remember, when she backed up at 24 miles an hour, it had just started sticking to the grass and to the ground. Just started. So even though it was already snowing, it was just melting before that, right? So it had just started sticking to the ground. So we're not talking about there was already inches on the ground when she backed up that fast. It was still down to the pavement. So I'm like thinking about it and I'm like, she still felt pretty confident in her ability to be driving like an asshole because it wasn't yet sort of like piling up on the road, you know? So she gunned that shit in reverse. Like I would not drive that fast in reverse, but I mean, I'm sure peeling out, a lot of us have done that, backing out of a driveway or something, going faster than we absolutely should have. Especially when I was much younger, excuse me. Jack said, my hope aren't very high for Judge, but fingers are crossed though. My fingers are always crossed, but I mean, you're right. I just don't have high hopes, you know? Navin said, I don't hate him. I hate what he did. And that ended up hurting getting justice for John. Yeah, it did. I mean, I think the guy definitely has a bit better IQ than most of, the people saying Karen didn't do it. And not saying that they're looking at a piece of evidence at 5 and 8 a.m. with missing taillight where they're like, I don't see anything. Like, what in the actual? I think the poor guy was overwhelmed, being bullied, anxiety ridden. But I do think that maybe he definitely should have conceded a few things and made a better argument, but he did the best, I guess, with what he had at that moment. Jackson was being a dick. Like, I don't know how I would have done under that pressure. You know what I mean? You could clearly tell he was very, very nervous. Like, I feel for the guy. I really do. It looks like everything I've heard about him is he's a wonderful person. Like, but he's got like anxiety and he has a little bit of a stutter. You know, yeah, exactly. The cars at the bar had just like a light covering of snow on them at that point. Like, I don't think I have either, but I've come pretty close when we attempted it. I think I got to like 23 or something like that on a straightaway. Yeah, that maybe that's the best way to say it. He couldn't express himself very well. You know what I'm saying? Like, those circumstances were hard for anybody, like anyone. I wouldn't want to be in them. That's for damn fucking sure. That's for damn sure. I tried to go in reverse 24 miles an hour to see how hard she would have hit up. I got to 10 and freaked out. It is fast. You have to think about it. She was also drunk. So at that point, you don't really like, you got like beer goggles on. You know what I'm saying? Like, just Christina said, I don't even want to go out anymore. I can't believe how many people can see her guilt. Makes me worried. How stupid. No, Christina, you got to get out. You don't be afraid. Believe me. I know some of these people are stupid and it makes me nervous for society, but you got to get out. You got to breathe in the fresh air and, you're always welcome to come here and have a coffee or tea or whatever you drink and sit out in my backyard free from dealing with assholes. If you just want to get out of the house, I offer that to anyone who's worried about dealing with the cult. You will not deal with the cult here. Freak said TPR Paul was not able to complete his thoughts internally, let alone out of his mouth. And that was just the stress of the situation. And then Jackson on top. I mean, Jackson was just a dick. Like, hey, that's okay. All the more power to you. I can't because it makes me like paranoid. Last time I smoked weed, I was probably like 17, 18, maybe. Not my thing. I vape. But hey, I got plenty of friends who do smoke and it helps them with their anxiety. It helps them with sleep. All sort of different benefits of it. My daughter uses CBD patches for pain. It has no THC in it, but it has the CBD. Well, that's the thing, right? It is scary to think about like how many of these people roam free with this kind of thought process, thinking that kind of behavior that they're showing is completely okay. That's what worries me. Literally. Like, that's the kind of shit that worries me, is they're allowed to just roam free, cyber stalking, criminally harassing people, and like that has become like a normal okay thing. It's not okay. It's not normal, and no one should think that it's normal or okay. Like, I don't know how any of these people don't stop them. I mean, to be fair, I have gotten apologies from people. I have gotten messages from people who said that they are ashamed of things that they said about other people, or things that they participated in or didn't say anything about. We have had people who came from over there and gave information or evidence of crimes or things that were being done that they put their foot down about, that they were not going to allow anymore. And so those people I give credit to, because you have to have to be pretty brave to know that, like, if you put your foot down, there's a chance that you're going to be harassed into oblivion like the rest of us. Like, right? That's the risk that you're going to take by putting your foot down. Like that, it just is, unfortunately. And so most people know that before they decide to say, like, hey, this is not okay. This behavior is not okay. We're not going to put up with this bullshit. It's just not. Like Jack said, they're roaming out there with their slack jaws dragging on the ground. Funny, but not funny. It's just insane to me. Like, I don't get it. Tenacious said timeline, phone data, cell sites, car data, past history, text. Look at Alex Murdoch. It did for him. Well, there's just so many pieces of evidence, right? Like, forget the taillight all over John's clothes, right? We have microscopic pieces of taillight in John's clothes. We have the glass that's next to him, right? Pieces of the glass. I love Matt, girl with the eagle eye. I'm looking at your comment right now, and I absolutely love Matt. His legal takes are like usually pretty close to mine. And him and John DePetro, I saw them. They were both on Julie's show the other morning together. And I was like, oh, two of my favorite people. Like, I love it. I absolutely love it. But there's so many different pieces of evidence that go to this case. It isn't just the witnesses who are saying he never entered the house. His phone data shows he never entered the house. There's a 4-second period where you might be able to argue something happened, but what happened in 4 seconds? Take him longer than that to get in the house and then back out. So, you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't really work. He certainly didn't go down to the basement, get beat up, hit with a barbell, and bitten by a dog and thrown out on the lawn. I mean, that's crazy. Like, the fact that they're still even going with even a part of that theory is insane to me. Morning, Penny. I am local. Yeah, it's I see I see a lot of them, kitties. I see a lot of them out in public. I see a lot of their cars, I should say. A lot of them have the cars that say, like, FKR on it. And I'm like, oh God, here we go. We're going into a store of one of these people. You can usually spot them from a mile away, though. Some hostile, some not. It just depends, I guess, on the area you live in. You see more of it in the South Shore than you do like where I live. Girl with an eagle eye said that Matt put out an interesting YouTube video on the strategies each side could be employing during jury selection and the types of people the prosecution versus the defense are looking for. Yeah, I think I saw that one. And I was like, good job, Matt. Like, good freaking job. Freak said, you got to remember that these people are doing these things are either under the spell and fully duped, or they know and are fully complicit. I figure it's probably a 95-5 split. I honestly, like, a lot of them are just complicit, unfortunately. The louder ones are just complicit at this point. Just complicit. The more hateful, angry ones are complicit. And I think they become more hateful and more angry because they know they're wrong and they can't go back, right? Like, just it's insane to me. But yes, I am local. It's interesting. More often than not, when someone runs into me in public, they know my voice. They'll start to go, you look familiar, but I know that voice. Where do I know that voice? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, where do you, I don't know. And then it finally comes to them and they're like, oh, are you on YouTube? And I'm like, yep, yes, I am. That's me. Like, but I don't usually have any really bad run-ins. Usually it's very pleasant run-ins with people. once or twice it's been like one of the hostile weirdos, but most of the time it's pleasant run-ins with people. Yeah, you're over the pond, so you don't have to deal with the craziness in real life or in person at least. I don't think any of us do stupid very well. Not over here at least. Dealing with stupid makes me feel stupider for having to deal with it. I kid you not. Like oh, California is like another land. I do wanna visit there one day though. Jack said, "I'm local, but it's not as prevalent as you think." Yeah. I don't see or hear many people talking about it, but it's on the news constantly. Yeah, that's another thing. It's not as much like oh, no, Christina, that's not fun. That's not fun. Ugh. I live southern Worcester County near Rhode Island. Yeah, that makes more sense to see some of them out in that area, but I'm a little bit towards Rhode Island, but not on that side. On the other I'm in the South Coast. So, I'm closer to the Rhode Island line towards, like, Easton and Norton and Fall River and Taunton and, New Bedford, like, that is the South Coast, that area, Dighton, Lakeville, and there isn't a ton in this area. There's some, but not a ton. Yeah, that's the Woonsocket side. LG said I miss Wright's Chicken Farm. Dunning-Kruger, the peak of Mount Stupid, the Dunning effect. I've never heard of that, no. I've never heard of that, Penny. That's, I think, what makes me so concerned, Jennifer, right? That we have teachers, nurses, like former officers, current, although I'm gonna say current attorneys, but most of them are from out of state. Some of them are civil attorneys, and most of them are like on social media blabbing about it. Most of the attorneys that I've talked to that know that she's guilty or say that she's guilty, they're some of them are on social media, but none of them have YouTube channels. They're not like trying to scream it from the rooftops, like, and there are a lot of them that just laugh at this ridiculousness, this utter ridiculousness to them. It's a giant conspiracy. Like Christine said her parents go to Wright's Farm every Friday. Well, maybe we'll have to visit when you visit, Leah. We might have to go there. Oh, is it? Oh, okay. Is it like they can't be convinced due to their own like biases? Is that what it is, Penny? That's interesting. I feel like once again, if you go into like what makes a cult and like it's a lack of like really like knowing that they're in a cult is half the problem because they don't even know they're in it until they're out of it, right? Until they sort of separate themselves from that world. Then they start to realize like, "Oh my god." And I tell people like if you're in this, like we need to get you out of it. Like get out of it, out of that bubble, right? And sort of chill yourself. Like get out of the bubble of cultism and get out of the bubble of having to deal with listening to the same thing over and over and bring yourself out of it for a minute. And it makes you stop to think like, holy shit, I've been out of it for a week or whatever. And you're like, wait a second, like now you're seeing things in a whole nother light. And it's like getting them out of it or having them pull themselves back is the biggest problem. Yes, we totally could. We totally could. We could always get it there too and then come back here and eat at my house. Well, that's right. It explains how being stupid people are not smart enough to realize they're stupid. Like Jack said, Dunning-Kruger, people who think that they're the smartest are actually the least smart. People who are smart think they're not smart and need to learn more. So that's the thing. Like, I don't know about need to learn more, but like, I'm one of those people that wants to learn more. Like, I want to. Like, I'm just like, give me all the knowledge. Like, give me all the things to read about. I'm a bookworm. I like to read. I like to learn. I like to, learn new things. I'm weird like that. I'm a nerd like that. But if you think that you know everything and you have no room to learn, then, you know, you're not going to have an open mind enough to know that you're always learning. You're learning until the day that you die. Like you just are. Like you're learning until the day that you die. You can learn from anything, good or bad. Like, and if you don't take something from it, right? Then I call that being extremely closed-minded. And it sucks because if you open your mind a little, lose some critical thinking, and actually think about it from multiple perspectives and points of view, you start to realize that there are different ways of looking at everything, right? You can have a different opinion on everything. And it's fun to have those conversations and civil debates with other people about what they think. But I also think it's important that those debates don't turn into what we are seeing here, which is just people spitting venom about other people's looks. And people, like, when they call me ugly, I just laugh. Like, first of all, I know I am not Miss America, but I also know that I'm not ugly. So let's stop with the nonsense, please. Um, it's just amazing to me that they think that they need to go that low, though. That's what they need to do. They need to attack your looks or where you live or how you live. It's like, if you have no argument, that's when you go into insults. That's when you've lost the argument. You've ultimately lost that argument now. Like I said before, only insecure people do that kind of stuff. People who are highly insecure with themselves and their own lives attack other people constantly, make fun of other people constantly, insult other people constantly, especially people that pay them no mind at all. When you feel that you have to do that, I have a couple stage 5 clingers from over there, and that's what they literally are, stage 5 clingers, stalker status. Like, I don't even acknowledge these people because it's utterly ridiculous, the shit that they say. I don't even acknowledge them. Yet, they cannot stop talking about me. If I rent that much space in your head, well, I guess I'm doing something right, because you don't rent that space in my head. I don't give a shit what you have to say. It's really that simple. Like, I do love, though, those people that think that they need to use large words all the time. There are, and I've learned this in life, that there are a ton of people that want to be and think they are so well above everyone else and think they're so much more intelligent than everyone else that they feel like every time they talk, they have to use larger words so that they seem like they're smarter, so they sound like they're smarter. And it's a huge red flag for me when someone sits there and they have to have a conversation and they have to use like complicated, large words to try to seem smarter. To me, it shows that you have a lack of um, faith in yourself and your own smarts. I'm pretty confident in my intelligence and my ability to learn. I don't need to use 10 character words every 5 words so that other people think that I'm smart. I don't need to do that. I don't need to do that. I just don't, you know? Freak said, when you know nothing about a subject, you know that you know nothing. But as soon as you learn a tiny bit, you internally recon, you know much more than you do. But the more you learn, the more you know you don't know. Well, that's the thing, right? Like, once you start learning more about it, you're like, oh shit, I didn't know. Listen, nobody knows everything. There is plenty I don't fucking know. I'll tell you that much. But I'm a nerd. I like to learn about a bunch of different random things. Like, if you ask me about hunting, I couldn't fucking help you. I couldn't track an animal in the wilderness, but I do love hiking. I love camping. Like, just don't ask me shit about hunting. I couldn't tell you. If we were in a survival zombie apocalypse, somebody else would have to set traps and track animals so that we could eat, because it would not be me. I could help you with different kind of survival things like making a shelter or a fire, but tracking or hunting, nope, not this chick. Nope. I'd have to learn. I would have to learn from someone else. Like, I get what you were saying, Jack. Some people don't realize how smart you are either until you realize that, like, wait a second, I shouldn't just know that off the top of my head randomly like that, you know? It should make anybody with brains feel superior at this point, right? Like, and I see a lot of the lack of common sense. It gets me though, because I'm like, dude, have just a smidgen of common sense goes like a long way. Like, yeah, but if you listen to the cult I am, I'm both. I'm horrible. I'm a terrible, awful human being, they say. I'm just an idiot that knows nothing and I'm just awful. I'm terrible. Like, that's what they claim, right? Like, hold on a second. Little incoming. Some are just in so deep with KR that even though they must sense or even know there are problems in their defense, they must continue. And that's half of the problem, right? Kitties, that's half of the problem is they're in so deep at this point, they can't get out. They have to double and triple down. And I know that a lot of them probably feel like if they admitted they were wrong now, they'd be attacked, and probably from the cult they would be. But I promise you, if you admitted you were wrong and came to a place like this where you started asking real questions, we'd just give you the answers to them. We're not going to down you for figuring out you were wrong, dude. That takes bravery, especially in this situation, because people know that if they're going to admit they were wrong or they think she's guilty now, what comes with that if you were a member of that cult? If you were a part of that mob, that you are probably going to get shit on. It's just how they do things, unfortunately. It's unfortunate, but it is the way they do things, you know? We are an hour and 52 minutes into this show. And this is the time I like to remind people to hit the like button. We want to make sure people are liking the video if you already haven't. And if you can, to make sure that you subscribe if you're not already subscribed, that you share the video with other people. There are people still finding us. Every single day I get comments on the videos. They're like, oh my God, I just found you just now. And that's awesome. We've been here a while, but they're just finding us now, which is cool. I love that. And if you can, obviously, if you can, a donation always helps the channel. We don't have super chats or super stickers because of FKR. So we have to wait on YouTube I had to reapply for all of that, thanks to the mob. So we don't have that or memberships yet. Eventually we will. So for right now, all I have is Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal. The information is on the screen at the bottom here, and it runs on that very small ticker at the bottom throughout the show. So at any point you want to donate and can donate, we would very much appreciate it. We read them. We read the comments. If you don't want us to read it, we don't read full names because unless we know your screen name, then we just read it as your screen name. But if you just write ANON, I will just read it as anonymous. On Cash App, you can't write anything, I don't think. So you just put a heart and I will know you want it to be anonymous. And as always, I appreciate any and all people that are helping out, because without you guys, where would I be? Where would we be? We wouldn't be able to keep bringing you guys this content without that kind of grassroots support. So I appreciate it more than you guys even know. And it's going to be a long trial. We're talking 6 to 8 weeks, guys. 6 to 8 weeks every day, 8 or so hours or more a day. So we're going to have to buckle in tight, because I think by this week we'll have all the jurors and this trial is going to start. Whether it's this week or the beginning of next week, this trial is going to start real soon. And we're going to have a lot of different things to talk about. Some interesting cross-examinations that I absolutely cannot wait for. I'll tell you that much. The Commonwealth's case, obviously much longer than the defense. Last time they needed 3 days, I think it was. They wrapped their case up in 3 days. The Commonwealth needs weeks to do theirs. Weeks, because there's so many witnesses and so many. I mean, Hank knows how he's going to lay this out, right? He absolutely knows how he's going to lay this out, but it's still going to take weeks to get it done. So make sure everybody's buckled in for this ride, because it is going to be bumpy. Kitty said some are just so in deep. Yeah, that even though they might sense or even know there's problems with their defense, they must continue. And then DJ said, I think that was perceived wrong. I was responding to her with an eagle eye. It looked like I was responding to Christina. Hey, that's okay. I think they got the point. Cox said, you are very pretty and very kind and very funny and very smart too. I appreciate it. I can be funny sometimes, other times not so much. It's just about, sometimes I'm just in that kind of silly mood. I'm just a silly little kid sometimes. Other times I'm a much more serious adult. I'm serious. This is a very serious situation. This is a serious situation. This is the diary of a wimpy sewer turtle. That's my pen and my very serious book, Your Honor. This is serious. This is very serious. It's so serious. Jennifer said FKR didn't have a problem with Karen's resting bitch face, which is odd. They actually think she's pretty. Well, when you're constantly staring people down and like narrowing your eyes like this, like it tends to turn people off. Just saying. Like, she looks very haggard. She does look a lot older now than she did when this whole thing started. Like, so I think she's definitely starting to age, now. I think it much more interesting to live not knowing than to have answers that may be wrong. Richard Feynman. I was fascinated, Freak said, when I found out about people with a severed corpus callosum. Basically, it splits the brain in two, and you have two people inside. In one case, one side Christian, the other atheist. Interesting. That is interesting. Karen is not pretty at all. They must need glasses, and she's not pretty on the inside either. I feel like a lot of these other people are just looking for a place to belong, as we know. I look up weird shit too. I don't know. I'm just a nerd like that, dude. I look up something and then I might see something in an article that I'm reading, like a scientific article or like something. I like space stuff too. I like to read stuff about like Mars and space and stuff NASA's doing. And I'll find something in there about like physics or, something, geology, something. And then I'll be like, oh shit, I want to learn more about that. And then so I'll start looking up things about that. And then from that, I'll read something else. So it's a rabbit hole, but like I want to learn, you know what I mean? Like I'm just a nerd like that. I'm just interested like that. I'd much rather be reading a book than watching TV. It's that simple. They would lose all their newly found friends, but what they don't realize is there's actual real life decent human beings over in the real world where we live that aren't going to just shame you if you did something in your life that you're not proud of. We all make mistakes. We're human. That's what makes us human, is that we're perfectly imperfect. The whole thing. There's no such thing as perfect. There's no such thing as fully normal. Like everybody has their kinks. Everybody has their, things that they think that they don't like about themselves or they think other people don't like about them. Nobody's going to love one person, not everyone's going to love one person. You know what I mean? Like there are going to be some people that love you and some people that hate you. And I say the people that hate you, it's their loss. They don't get to know you as a person. They just go by based what someone else is telling them is a fool's errand. Make your own opinions based on what you learn about someone, based upon spending time with them, not what someone else told you about them. That's like high school shit. That is like middle school crap. That is like click. I'm better than you, and you're in like the nerd group, and I'm in like the. Listen, I played sports. I did cheerleading. I did softball. I mean, volleyball. My husband does softball. I do not do softball. Volleyball and soccer. And throughout I started soccer when I was like 8. Weymouth Girls, my grandparents put me in. So it was like 7 or 8 when I started Weymouth Girls soccer when I was a kid, because that's where my grandparents lived. And then I switched. Obviously, when I went into school, I played in school all the way through high school. And I found that in a high school as big as mine was, there was less cliques than there was in like middle school. So like the jocks, which would have been us, and the cheerleaders, I did cheerleading too, weren't like mean to the nerds. Like some of us were nerds. Like we were also nerds. Like we played sports, but we liked like reading and shit. So like, but we also liked hanging out with our friends, and we're also, wearing Abercrombie because that was the cool thing back then. And we had our Old Navy or Gap, hoodies, like, or American Eagle, because that's what preppy kids did. But we were still nice to everybody. There were only a really small subset of people that were just like cliquey and rude and ignorant. And like, we sort of just steered clear of those people, which were only a few. Like everyone else, because it was such a big high school, sort of got along. And I found that seeing like with my sisters, we're in smaller high schools and like it was more cliquey and mean. And I'm like, kids can just be mean. But it's like, do you grow up thinking that that's okay behavior as an adult and then bring that into adulthood? Because it's like, you didn't learn when you were a kid that that's like not okay. Like nobody ever taught you that that's like not okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like the mean girl shit isn't cute. Like it's not. It makes you look bad, not the person you're attacking, but you. It makes you look like very insecure. It makes you look like you're an angry, insecure human being that feels the need to try to prey on other people so that you, for just a few seconds, might feel better about yourself. It's the Sewer Turtle's whole thing. Him and his head top minions. They think that they're going to feel better about themselves by trying to disparage other people and have such a lack of self-awareness and accountability when it comes to it, either because they're like accusing people of the exact same things they're currently doing. I'm not nervous, Jack. You want to know why? Because I know Hank's got this. Hank has got this. She does look haggard. She does look like she's very, like, stressed out, you know? Like, I mean, hey, you're going into a second trial, you know? Going into a second trial. Hopefully, since last trial was more like 3 days. Yeah, I'm done with that half-day bullshit. Let's try to not do that this time. Like, Judge Canoni, let's not. Let's not do these half days, 3 days a week, like, because that's also why it took as long as it did. I think it would have taken at least a week and a half or 2 weeks less time if she stopped doing those half days and those, like, Mondays off for, like, Mondays, and then it was, like, a Monday and a Friday, but it was, like, Mondays for, like, 3 days, 3 weeks straight or something like that. It was ridiculous. Type in that article and it'll pop up. Did anyone ever figure out why the one female juror was dismissed from jury duty? We don't know. We only know that they replaced her with someone else already, but we don't know why. I have no information on exactly why. It looks like from reading media that she, like, not like dismissed herself, but, like, must have asked to be excused. That's what it sounds like, but we don't really know. That's the most information I've gotten about it thus far. Rabbit holes on rabbit holes. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I guess since you're local, it's tough, you know? It's tough because there are a lot of people who have fallen for it, but there are a lot of people, I have a Discord there. You can talk to people in there. Everybody there knows what's going on with this case. Freak can put it in the chat, the link to it in the chat. That's a great way to discuss it with people. There's a voice chat in there you guys can use, also regular chats in there. And also I'll be streaming the trial, so there's a way to talk about it here too. But there's a lot of us that are local that you could always call or text or email and talk about it too. You know, it's tough. It's definitely tough. Yeah, she just turned 44. She's around the same age as Dishkular Turtle. Yeah, the Botox. She's had quite a bit of Botox. Ugh, I don't know why anybody would do right here anyway. It doesn't really look like I would do probably like crow's feet, maybe under eye, maybe, I don't know, maybe forehead. I mean, not that I need Botox right now. I clearly do not. I do not have wrinkles like that. But and I'm in my late 30s. So I mean, they're coming. They're soon to be. So but if I was going to get Botox and I can afford Botox, I would probably do like the crow's feet if I had them, and then like under eye bags, and then like maybe some on the forehead if I had those. Yeah, 44. It's only 44. This is a great place to be for that. That's for sure. Hey, Casey. I feel the free care and read people had something missing in their lives and they feel like they filled that hole. Yeah, they have. But like you just said, they filled it with hate and anger. And like they're taking out that hate and their anger on people who they disagree with. It's not cute. It's just not. Like you can disagree with us. You don't have to agree with us. But you take it a whole nother step further when you insert yourself into people's personal lives and in their real life. How would you like it if people were calling your job, showing up at your house, sending you deliveries, sending you nasty emails or DMs or text messages or phone calls, prank phone calls? Like, how would you like it if people did that to you just because they didn't agree with you on this case? Would that be okay with you? Or would you be calling the police saying it's cyberstalking and criminal harassment? I think you'd be calling the police and asking for their help. So why would you think that it's okay to do it to someone else? That's where I go with this, is if you don't think it's appropriate to happen to you, then don't do it to someone else. It's really that simple. It should be a simple right from wrong, but I'm seeing a lot of people having a real hard time with basic concepts of right and wrong. Yeah, that's a beautiful right there, Casey, right there. When the debate is lost, slander becomes a tool of the loser. Socrates. That's just sums it up right there. That sums it the hell up. Like, yeah, she was only 40 when it started, Jennifer. You're 100% right. That's one of them. That's right. It was that she didn't disclose something about her criminal background, but I think that was before. There was one that was dismissed on Friday that was different. The one before that was this one. that didn't disclose something about her criminal background, and they do background checks on the jurors, and they did the background check, and so she didn't disclose, and they, said bye. But that was the one before Friday, and they had another one on Friday that they dismissed, and I don't know why. I think it was Thursday that other one was dismissed, or maybe it was early Friday morning, but then they found another juror on Friday that replaced this juror that they dismissed. So, but we now know that there's 5 men and 5 women right now, so it's half and half. You can type in how cults change your brain into Google. There are also some good videos on YouTube from former cult members. Yeah, there are some good ones from former cult members that sort of give you pretty good insight into why people do the shit that they do. And it lines up perfectly with what's happening here. It's actually insane. I think scientists actually need to study this. I kid you not when I say that. Like, oh, the pain. Yeah. Karen's so vile, she needs some things being said about her. Look what she does and says to innocent, beautiful people and witnesses, family members of John, etc. Yeah, they just don't care. Yeah, that was one of them. But there's been, quite a few that have been passed over or dismissed. Someone will need to open up a cafe to support people after FKR gets publicly shown to be a pile of lies. Maybe a smoke shop. I know, right? That would be awesome. I feel like a lot of people need some restitution from this. That's for sure. Anybody whose income was affected, anybody whose life was affected should get some fucking restitution from these pieces of shit. Like, oh yeah, Botox. She said Botox. Right? Dupes. You know what? I think if we get a verdict a lot quicker than we did last time, then we know that that's a good sign. Because you couldn't possibly come to a not guilty verdict on this super, super quickly. All of them. I feel like you could come to a guilty one a little faster. So I feel like if we get a verdict and it doesn't take days, it's a good sign. I expect it should take at least a full day of deliberations, not like, oh, the case ends at 2 and then they only have 2 hours. I'm saying like a full day of deliberations, it should at least take for them to give us something. That would be a normal wait time, I feel like. Yeah, it definitely lasted longer than it should have, Or maybe she did just turn 45, something like that. It was either 44 or 45. I've never seen a schedule like that at trial either. Never. It's hard for a jury to remember this information and keep this information in their brain, like you're saying, Jen. Like, if they are off 2 days out of a 5-day week, if they're doing half days, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're not gonna retain that information. Like, you wanna just go straight through. Like, we probably don't need it, but as a woman, I'm not gonna lie, if I get some serious wrinkles, I might want it. I actually have psoriasis. So my skin gets very red. I have rosacea and psoriasis. So here and here and here I started to get like very blotchy red because of the psoriasis and because of the uneven sort of skin tone from the rosacea and psoriasis. But thankfully, StreamYard gives me a filter that I can just even out my skin tone so it doesn't have like, red, streaks right here. It just kind of looks like I have rosy cheeks, like almost like I have like a bronzer on or something is what it normally looks like. I'm 21 forever. What do you mean? I tell my kids my birthday every year and they're like, how old are you, mommy? I'm like 21 again. My oldest ones knows. Like, you're 21 again, mom. I'm like, yep, that's it. 21 again. It's my 21st birthday again. 21 over again. Alan Jackson does look rough. You do not even need Botox. You, ma'am, do not need Botox. You can get it, but you don't need it. Did he really turn 59? Interesting. I wonder what he got for his birthday. I'm not going to speculate on that. Not going to speculate. I wish I could get some hair extensions. Like, I have lost like 50% of my thickness in my hair. Everybody can thank long haul COVID for that. And I have psoriasis. So I even have it like on my scalp. So like I lose a lot of hair, like, especially when you have like longer hair, like you lose it brushing it or like a small animal nest, it looks like, comes out when you brush it, like, or in the shower. I think she is very vain. Would be my honest opinion on it. Like, I couldn't, yeah, too many short days, half days. Like, there's there's a thing over in my Discord. There's, little areas where you can go into. One's general, one's just sewer turtle, and one says reed whacker. Yeah, because that's what we're dealing with. Like, oh God, let's hope not. Okay, let's hope not. Let's hope not. Oh, hey, Eva. Do you have your notifications on? Because when you subscribe to the channel, or any channel for that matter, YouTube does this thing where that little bell that gives you the notifications for when I'm live, it's set to like most or sometimes or whatever the word is. You have to actually go in and click on that bell and change it to all so that YouTube will give you like a notification on your phone that I'm live every time. Otherwise, it won't do it every time. Don't ask me why YouTube does it like that. I have no freaking idea. Yes, my cat and I, they still finish with 10 on Friday. A call, right? A call. Happy birthday, Mr. AJ President. He better have went back to his wife is what he better have done. Better be flying back in tomorrow or tonight or something. Like, and if Alessi's the new Lally, well, I'm in trouble because I might fall asleep on that stream. I kid you not. Like, well, that's another thing. Alcohol is supposed to age you like a ton. I don't drink a ton, maybe 10 times in a year total. Maybe that's being generous. Like, usually like vacation, a wedding, birthday party, 4th of July, cookout, like things of that nature, like stuff like that. Like, I don't know. Right? Mr. President. But yes, they did. 10 still. 10 still. Yes, 10 jurors still. 10 still. The pickle chips, dude. The pickle chips were funny. Like, a tweet from John DePetro the other day was Karen was told to say the potential jurors all look like nice people. Instead, she talked about pickle chips and not paying lawyers. Big fail. Yeah, I mean, it's not good for you. The alcohol is not good for you. It ages your skin just like smoking does. Smoking ages your skin. So, that's kind of how that works, unfortunately. So it's like you want to ease up on that alcohol, Karen, because there's no Botox in jail. There's just not. There's no Botox in jail. So I don't know. I'm just saying that's not going to help. Like, it's just not. Like, you're going to need to ease up on the Tito's. You're going to need to ease up on it. I'm just saying. What do you guys think about, do we use the full 5 days this week to find the rest of the, is it 6? Yeah, 6 jurors. Although I think that's a mistake once again. I think it's a mistake to only do 16. Thought it was a mistake last time. I will express the fact that I think it's a mistake again. But whatever. Who am I? Who am I? But I honestly think they should have went with 18 or 20 jurors this time. I do. I honestly think that's what should have happened. But since they didn't, and they're only going to do 16, that means we only need 6 more jurors. So how long do you guys think? Show of hands. How many days y'all think it's going to take to get the other 6? Because remember, we got 5 in one day. 5 in one day. People are like, oh, it's too fast. But then I have to sort of point out and even think about it myself that we've gotten 10 people out of 530 something or 500 and something. It's in the 500s, like the mid 500s ish. So like when you think about that and it's 10 out of mid 500s ish, it doesn't sound that fast. It sounds fast because it's that many days. But when you think about how many jurors they went through to get those 10, then it's only a fraction of the amount of people that they dismissed. You know what I mean? Like they dismissed over 500 and something people and only have 10 out of the 500 and something that they have currently gone through. by tomorrow it'll be 600 and something or 700. Like, so 3 days? 3? How long to the jury? Yeah. 3? 3? 3? 2 or 3? I think that's a good count. I think it would take about 3 days-ish, maybe 4 if they have a hard time one day. Because if they get 2 jurors per day, that'd be 3 days, or if they only get 1 juror one day, they might need a 4th day, right? We all worry about that, right? We all worry about whether they're in disguise as FKR, but I do have to believe that Hank absolutely knows that it's critical that he makes sure these people don't sneak on. And make no mistake when I say he knows how hard they're going to try. He is fully aware of how hard they're going to attempt to try to get onto this jury. That is not something that I think he takes lightly at all. I think he's fully aware of the things that they will try to do to get onto this jury. And I think we have to put our faith in something and someone, and I choose to put my faith into Hank, knowing that he knows how serious this is and how many people are waiting for justice when it comes to this case. I think he's done an amazing job thus far, and I have no reason to believe that he will have a problem with the jury or picking the jury. Remember, he can strike a juror for any reason. So if he thinks the defense is picking someone who's free, Karen Reed friendly, he can use one of his strikes and say, nope, we're not using that juror. It sort of makes it so that the defense and the Commonwealth have to agree on the juror. So I have no doubt that I feel like if he thinks anything is off about any one of those jurors, he will use his strike to say no. Nope, skipping on to the next one, even if he's got an inkling that something's off. If a question was answered wrong or in a way that he thinks they're lying, he can use that strike for no reason or any reason at all. He doesn't have to have a reason for it. There are ones for cause, and then there are ones at all, like that he can just use for anything whatsoever with no reason. Yep, Monday through Friday, Jimbo, Monday through Friday. Welcome, by the way. Welcome, Jimbo, my friend. End of the day, Tuesday, Taylor says. Eva said, are the 10 pictures, are they instructed not to read or look into yes, they are. Yes, they are. You know, it's funny because I've been saying this is something that I've said before the first trial. I will say it again for this trial, which is that I believe that the jury should have been sequestered in this trial. I believe they should have been sequestered in the last trial. I know that Massachusetts hates sequestering juries. They almost never do it. But if any case needed it, it's this one. It's this one. There's a huge argument for these people to be sequestered. A huge argument. And I think it was a mistake not to sequester them the first time, as I said. And I was proven right, obviously. I think obviously Hank is going to be extra careful this time, but I do think that there's still an argument to have these people sequestered. I get it. The judge does not like taking people's their liberties away and having them sequestered, but you also need to make sure that if you have people trying to sneak onto a jury just to acquit someone, that's a huge problem. That's jury tampering. That's a huge problem. And that is absolutely a reason why juries get sequestered. And I don't think there could be a better argument for sequestering the jury. I just don't see Judge Cannoni doing it. Although I think it should have been done. A gag order should have been put in effect forever ago. Her putting it in now kind of just is a waste of time and lip service at this point because the damage has been done. So, it's too late in the game for the gag order. What does it really matter now? Like, that's just my opinion, obviously, but that's what I think. Like, that's another thing. I'm going to find out. I'm going to tell you that much. I'm going to find out. Might not be right this very minute. It might take me a few days or even a few weeks, but I'm going to find out what questions that the defense team was asking the jurors that sort of pissed off Hank Brennan that he thought were really slimy. Because they push their limits. They push their limits. But that is where the judge is supposed to step in and say, nope, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. It's a way, I guarantee you he's asking questions in a way that would taint any other jury sitting around there. and their sort of opinion on it, you know? So, but I'm gonna fucking find out, I'll tell you that much. I'm gonna find out what kind of questions he was asking that, were slimy like that. Monarch said an attorney guest on Tony Bruschi said that her attorneys can't give her good advice because they're all looking at furthering their own agenda. Well, they are. They're all looking at all the media coverage and like that's all they give a shit about. It's very clear. They're not giving her good advice. They're not giving her good advice to stop acting like she's her own attorney while you have 5 or 6 attorneys sitting at the table. You should be there still, letting them do their jobs. When you are in like doing it as if you are one of your own attorneys, you're showing that you have a control issue. It's not a good look to a court. It's not a good look to a jury. Like chill, bro, chill. And they're clearly not giving her that advice. They're not giving her the advice of toning down the way that she uses her body language and sneers at people and like, narrows her eyes and laughs and smiles. Like it's not a good look, dude. It's not a good look. Well, we got to think about it as in fast. It would be fast if they did 10 jurors out of, like 100. Then I'd say, wow, that's a little fast. But we're talking, 10 out of over 530 or 40, whatever the number is. And then, so if you add another 100 and something to that, which will be tomorrow, you're talking almost 700 people, Hank the Tank is right. Yeah, not too fast. Yeah, I don't think it's too fast, just with the amount that they've been through. They're doing it to delay the trial. The defense is shitting it big time. Well, yeah, I think they wanted to delay this for a while. Like, that's another thing. The jurors are also told to snitch on each other. Like, if you see something out of pocket or one of them is trying to discuss the case, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if they're supposed to be notifying someone, and I'm gonna hope that the people who know that this is a very serious matter will say, "Oh, no, 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 this person, I overheard them, like, or I saw them say this and this and this," and that's so they'll be dismissed. But that's why I'm saying, like, there should be more than 16. There needs to be more alternates than 4. We almost ran out of alternates last time. Like, we needed more alternates. I don't think he'll run out of strikes. I think he'll use the at-cause strikes first, which are unlimited. You know, like if you're saying you have a bias already, that's an immediate strike, right? Like you can use that because that's a for cause. Like for no reason at all. I think he is going to make sure he has enough to strike until the end. Hank, he's the man. If he can't do it, at least I wish I was a special prosecutor on this case. I would love to work with Hank. That would be amazing. Would be amazing. I've considered getting myself arrested so I could have Hank as an attorney. Just kidding. I'm a broke bitch. Welcome to the club. Me too. But I mean, I would love to pick his brain one day. I would love to pick his brain. They should have moved the trial far away from where they are now. I think the only reason they didn't is because Norfolk County has like over 700,000 residents. And so it's not like a small county and it spans like across the state. So it's like, it's not a small county of just a few cities or towns. It's huge. It's enormous. Yeah. You just needed to in this case, like you can use it for like certain things, but it's very, very touchy what you can and can't use because you don't want to use prior bad acts as a reason that someone might kill someone. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to prejudice the jury that just because they got mad about something previously or threw a glass previously, that means that they could have killed someone. You don't want them to draw that line because that's not always true. So you don't want to prejudice the jury. But they can use it in certain aspects like consciousness of guilt or state of mind, things like that. Yeah, I think exactly, Eva. It's beyond high profile. It absolutely should have been sequestered 100%. Like 100%. It took a whole week for them to like come to a mistrial. What do you mean, for picking the jury last time? Is that what you mean? The handsome Irish man. Then you guys can appreciate what the AI did on the picture for this video that AI made. It is AI's version of Hank burning down and splitting lies. It's the word lies, and then they're being split off in pieces, and there's Hank standing there, splitting them off into pieces. So Well, there's quite a couple of rumors about some ex-boyfriends that I know a bit about. I do know they don't want to get involved in this circus, and I cannot friggin' blame them. But I can tell you her past history of being crazy is there. It exists. It absolutely exists. But I can't blame them for not wanting to get involved in all of this. Would you? You know what I mean? Think about it. If you're involved and you become a witness, your life gets picked apart, your family gets picked apart, where you live, where you work, the whole shebang. And these poor guys don't want to subject their families to it. I can't blame them. I never in a million years thought my family would have to deal with the things that we've had to deal with just for being a vocal person on this. I never, ever, ever could have imagined that it would be what it is. Never. Not in a million years. Not in a million years. It's unfortunate too. It should never happen to anyone. Ever. Like, absolutely ever. I think we're going to see, 10 or 15 minutes in the morning of the judge asking the same stupid questions she asks every morning. The only reason I even want to listen to that part is to see if she says anything publicly about the juror situation. Other than that, like, I don't think we're going to hear anything new other than the same questions and the same spiel over again. I honestly can't wait until the trial starts because like I'm like ready for like direct and cross examinations and openings. Like I am ready. Like let's do this. Like justice is coming, but I think most of us are ready for it to happen now. And this is one trial down, one to go. Right? Hers down. Stuart Turtle's next. And I want them done. I want them over with. I want these people behind bars where they belong. And they're going to be civilly sued into oblivion until they're living in boxes for the rest of their lives. And I think there should be a fund for all of their victims because their victims are many and plentiful. And I think I wish that people would tone down their venom towards other people and keep it to opinions on the case. Cause it's like you can disparage or make fun of but what are you teaching your children, if you have any, by doing all that, like acting that way? Whether it's online, you think it's harmless because it's online. It's not harmless. I promise you that. It is not harmless. It's wrong. You're wrong. And maybe you need some therapy if that's how you feel normal behavior should be. I teach my child to sit with the kid that's sitting alone in the lunchroom. I teach my kid that if there's a kid bullying another kid, say something. Stand up for that person. Like, what are you teaching your kid because you don't agree with someone or because another media YouTube personality told you someone was bad, that you felt the need to constantly talk about them and cyberstalk them and stage 5 cling of their life? It's like, you don't have anything better to do than that. It's a little sad if you ask me. Like, come on. It's a little disturbing to see that many grown adults act that way. Like, come on now. Like, do better. Do better. Do better. We can all do better. Everyone can do better. Do better. But I also think I figured out, I said at the beginning of the show, but not all of you were here. I figured out what we're doing on Wednesday. We are going to go down to D&E and show our support and our love and get some food. But I think we're going to order some food from there and give Chris a heads up. Obviously, but I'll give him a heads up beforehand. And see if we can't get some pizzas and some appetizers like breadsticks or something over to the Canton PD. Because they have some really shitty morale right now, according to the Canton Audit, and I can't blame them. They've been treated like shit. They're constantly critiqued, and they shouldn't feel like if one of them died that people would be having a party. And hearing that from saying multiple officers said that breaks my heart. That hurts. That hurts my heart for them and their families because that is not okay. And I just want to give them a little morale boost. And they can't really accept quote gifts, but they can accept food. So I think maybe that's what I'll try to do is try to get some pizzas and some food sent over. I wanna send something too besides pizza because I wanna think because I have 2 lactose intolerant people in my house, and they do eat pizza, but I also wanna give a different option for other people that can't have cheese. I have to be mindful of that, but I want them to know that, like, I'm gonna buy a card, and I'm gonna drop it off with and or have them deliver it with the pizza, and, let them know that they are appreciated and that they have plenty of people who support them and think that they do a great job and think that, this will all be over eventually and that they'll be treated with kindness by at least some of the world and that they are not alone in all of this, you know? Like, I can't prove it, but my money says Karen Reed was a tire slasher in her youth. Again, hey, you never know, you know what I'm saying? Some people like to do some crazy things. You just never you just never know. You just never know. Like, but I do think they need to heal. You're right, Eva. They need to. They need to heal in some way. And I feel like we should do something to help, right? Reading that in the Canton audit was like heartbreaking that they thought that they think that the whole community is just gonna have a dance party if one of them gets shot or killed in the line of duty. Like that's awful. That's terrible. Like nobody should feel like they're doing a job of trying to keep the community safe. And even these people who are saying they're corrupt are the ones calling them for help when they think someone threw something at their lawn or drove by their house too many times or they were, whatever. Like they're still calling them for help. So I don't think it's right if we just ignore that they're feeling kind of down too. I think there's a way that we can, you know, say like, "Hey, thank you," but like also like no one's having a dance party if anybody gets hurt. Like you have support in the community and beyond, and you're not alone. And it was really just heartbreaking reading that for me. I thought about it and I'm like, I gotta do so. They can't accept like gifts, but they can't accept food. So like that was my idea, food. That's the only way I can do some little bit of good. So I think that's what I'll do. Because I mean, what else can we do? You know what I mean? Like we can't send gifts. They can't accept gifts, but they can accept food. So I think that's the best course of action and a card, you know? I think that's the best we can do. And so we're going to go down to D&E. And so, of course, anybody local who wants to join us, just let me know or let Ashley know. We still haven't figured out a time. A slew of cards. That would be a good idea too. Um, I haven't figured out a time yet because my schedule is very all over the place. So, and I'm going to be going to the hospital after that. So after I do D&E and stuff. So, with my other daughter. So to stay there for the night. So I'm going to figure out a time in the next 2 days, on what time we can go or like meet at D&E. So if you want to go, I do want to give Chris like a heads up on how many people though. So if we can. So if you do want to attend, just please let me or Ashley know. You can email me at twistedtragedies3@gmail, or you can send me a message on X or Facebook, any of that stuff. Like we can all do that. Because I think also showing our support there by buying the food there, um, you kill 2 kindness birds with 1 stone, right? You do 2 good things and all in one place. And by that time, I'll be starving and I'll want to eat too. So reincarnated Lizzie Borden. Jimbo, I don't disagree with you. Like in the audit Q&A with Rita, the audit guy told Rita that the police are getting death threats to their face. Oh my God. Yeah. See, no, that's not okay. Leon said, I'm still convinced that Rita attack on her yard was entirely done by her for attention. Has it happened to anyone else since? I have no idea, but not that I've heard. It doesn't mean it didn't happen, but I have not heard of anybody else being attacked or their yard being attacked after all that. That would be awesome if they got a slew of cards. That would be cool. A card shower, a second beach. Yeah, that would be smart. That is smart. Karen was definitely slashing tires and boiling bunnies back in her youth. I can't. The poor bunnies. My daughter's in and out of the hospital. She's been in for quite a bit of time now. She's got a rare disease. So it's something she's had her whole life. It's just she's gotten a couple extra diagnoses since Christmas, and it's gotten worse. She just had 2 surgeries recently, and hopefully, fingers crossed, if everything heals correctly, she'll be coming home soon. The doctors say, so that'll be fun. That'll be good. And hopefully we don't end up going right back. So let's just say a little prayer for that we don't go right back, and that she comes home for good this time and for a while, until the next time we have to go to any inpatient. Jennifer said, I'm sure they'll appreciate the financial support to their business, and I hear their pizza is good. Also, I love their waffle fries. They're delicious. Their subs are good too. Their salads are good. I guess you have to try it for yourself. Their food is good. It is good. So if you ever visit, you're going to have to go up to D&E and buy some of their food. It's better than mediocre. Again, they were lied to a lot. Yep, that would be the address. I guess you guys want to send a card. Send it on over and tell them they are now part of our Twisted Tragedies family. Yep, that the family here is sending our love to them. We can send them a twisted twister of cards. A twisted twister of cards. I think bombarding them with cards is not a bad idea. It'll at least make them know that they're appreciated. Yeah, I'm thinking more in the afternoon. Usually, shift change is 3 to 11 and 11 to 7. So I'm thinking, somewhere around 2 to get there and have it delivered, or by 2:45 or 3, maybe. Right at shift change. So, but I'm hoping, I still got to make sure that time works for my family. So I'm still working out the kinks, but I think that's about where we'll, try to do. So that's the address. Yep, that is the address. If you guys get thank you, Suzanne. If you guys get them out tomorrow, they might get there by Wednesday. It's possible if you get them out tomorrow, right in the mail, or tonight. If you put them in a mailbox tonight, they might get there by, if you're a local, they'll definitely get there by Wednesday. But even across the country, it's 2 to 3 days. So it's possible they'll get there. I think it's a great idea. I think it's an amazing idea. They can get some food. We can send some cards, and then they don't have to feel oops, God damn it. I meant to go back to the address. I scrolled up. Here we go. Crypto Eagle Eye said, maybe also consider putting something nice on the envelope so that they don't think it's a harassment letter. Yeah, that's true. That is very true. God forbid they probably get those too, Eva said, caught one clip of the Canton meeting yesterday with the ex-CP sergeant. He got shut down quickly. I knew him years ago. Was that Peter Murphy? Was it Peter Murphy? Was that who it was, Eva? Cards for CPD. For CPD. I think they need to know that they're not alone, and that I don't think anybody wants to have a dance party if they pass away. That was really hard reading that multiple officers thought that while the audit was being done. Nobody should feel like people are going to have a party if they die, especially on duty. That's a hard job. That is a hard job. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to do it. And I worked in a prison. I thought that was bad enough. I wouldn't want to, at least I know the only, weapons that they have at the prison are shivs that they made themselves. They're not hiding guns, So it's a hard job these people have to do. And then to be shit on top of it, it's like no good deed goes unpunished, I guess. I'm not going to lie. Most of us have felt like that at some point in our lives where it's like you're trying to do something good and then you kind of get shit on for doing something good. And it's like no good deed goes unpunished. It's like why they have that saying, right? Like, it's shitty, but it is what it is, unfortunately. All right. I am going to wrap this up. We are 2 hours and 41 minutes in, and I am starting to get hungry for some lunch. Anybody else got any other questions, comments? I'll go over those real quick. I don't have any other donations, so I didn't have to read it. I'll check again before I leave, but I just checked. Miss Lisa said, my friends were officers in Somerville. They both read a few years ago when everyone was being nasty to police. Yeah, that sucks. Like, that's just so many officers have left the job because I think it's thankless, and it is thankless. We don't need good officers leaving the job either. We need good officers. We definitely don't want shitty ones. We want good ones, There's no need for crappy ones, that's for sure. Hold on 1 second, guys. Ooh, barbecue ribs. That sounds good. That sounds delicious. I'm not gonna lie. All right. Looks like we don't have any. I'm surprised we don't have many questions today. Obviously, we will be back here and reconvene in the morning to see if the judge will say anything about the pictures with the jury. We will find out, I guess. I don't know. I'm 50-50 on when she'll say if she will say anything at all. I don't know that she will. But if she does, then we'll be here to cover it and see, right? So please make sure that you hit the like and subscribe button on the channel. Make sure that you have any questions for me or you need to get in contact with me. You can email me, twistedtragedies3@gmail.com. You can message me on X. You can message me on Facebook. You can jump in the Discord that I have, which is a super easy way to get in touch with me. You can DM me or message me there. I'm ready for it to start too, Jennifer. I am ready. If you are on my replay crew and anybody donates and catches this on the replay, I will read it tomorrow morning on the next one. If you donate during the live stream, I always read it out loud. If you want to remain anonymous, just make sure you write ANON, or if it's Cash App, a heart, so that I know that you want to remain anonymous, because I don't read full names for, safety reasons. I usually just like to read the screen name of what I know would be your screen name, or just anonymous. So I love you guys. I love your stinking faces. Okay. And I will see you all in the morning. Make sure everybody has a fantastic Sunday fun day, because it's one of them days where you just want to snuggle up with your babies and have a movie day and eat some popcorn and have a blast, because everything starts over tomorrow again for a full week. So let's have an amazingly awesome day. I love your stinking faces. I will see you guys later. And with that, I will leave you with my outro. Bye, everybody.